Hello, guys, gals, and non binary pals, and welcome to the Fae Realm and a brand new stream here in the realm. Some of these faces you may recognize, some of them you may not, but I am super excited to welcome all of them into the Fae Realm with this story that we are all going to be telling together. To start things off, I'm going to introduce my friend, my co-conspirator, the person who does evil cackles whenever I give suggestions, Sam Tillis. Sam, you are live. Go.
Hello, sorry, I was demonstrating the evil cackle right there. Hi, I am a relative stranger to Fey Realm, but I'm excited to be running this game Midnight in the Garden of Chrome and Fog. We're going to do a few small parts of upkeep, introductions, things like that before we start the game proper. But let's just do a round of introductions for you all out there. I am Sam Tillis. I use he, him, his pronouns. I know the names of parts of speech. I am a professional game master, amongst other things. You can find my professional GM persona as Stillis Gaming. Um, Stillis as in Sam Tillis. I didn't realize my name was a pun, Stillis Gaming, until a dyslexic, like 16-year-old pointed it out to me, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." Um, I'm here to run a game, but let's just get through introductions first. Alondra, introduce yourself and then pass it along.
Hello, my name is Alondra, aka Lady Bedivere. You may have seen me previously on Tiana Ren's channel for Creepy Christmas Carolers over the holidays, or occasionally during the daytime playing Navi for the Baldur's Gate 3. We are going to finish this game if it kills Ren stream. Uh, you may have also seen me around Majestic Goose Network for Meme of the Month, or Quests and Chaos for like a majillion things, or possibly even Torpid Gaming Network way back in the day. I'm very excited to actually be a player in a game. And I didn't put my maker's mark anywhere, so I will just brag that I made all the overlays. You're welcome. And I will pass it off next to Cal.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cal, or at Vaguely Whimsical, or Vaguely Whimsical if you're punny like that, on Instagram and Twitch. You probably have seen me on Quest and Chaos if you are over there. And I use they, them pronouns. And I'll pass it to DB.
Hello, I am DB. You've also probably seen me around Ren's channel. Um, I am a Twitch streamer on my own channel. I do a bunch of other TTRPGs. I use she, her pronouns, and I will pass it over to Ray.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Ray. He, him pronouns. SF-based stage actor, diehard Trekkie, and occasional video gamer. Although this is the first live stream I've done on this end of the camera, so this is very exciting for me. Be gentle, but really excited to get stuck in. I hope everyone has a great time.
Cool. So we're gonna talk about a couple of things real quick. Stay with us, audience. Thing number one. Um, you might have heard if you talked to me and perhaps someone else too. This game has a shtick. This is a cyberpunk game. This is a game using the rule system called I know it's called Cities Without Number. So you're gonna learn perhaps a bit about how that game works, but unlike perhaps other live streamed role playing games, you, the viewers, have influence in this game. And the way that you have influence in this game is that Ren's character is called GlitchAngle, and Ren's character is a hashtag influencer. Uh, GlitchAngle has, that's right, has the cyber gear required to literally live stream what the player's adventures are as they're going on them. So, you, the viewers of this game, are also playing characters. The characters of you, the viewers of this live stream inside the world of San Francisco in 2074. What that means is, if you post things in the chat, that might cause things to happen, right? Glitch Angle can choose whether to listen to them or not listen to them, or say snarky things in response to them. Your job is what it always is as a viewer, which is to be kind and respectful with the things that you post in the chat. Because if you feel liberated by this shtick to post things that are shitty, you will get booted real fast. We're here to have fun and have an inclusive community and fuck up the corpos. Um, Post things in that light, in that respect, and everything's gonna be nice here. Also, I'm not going to be watching the chat at all, but several of the players are, so be ready for those responses. Um, the other thing that you, the players, get to do because you are in this world is you can, in small ways, influence the outcome of fate, luck, what have you. I'm given to understand, I don't know anything about Twitch. I'm given to understand that Twitch has a mechanism where you can give money. And if it is reported to me that you have given certain amounts of money, you will have purchased through the power of bleak post-capitalist commerce the ability for players to have bonuses to their rolls. They will roll with advantage, essentially. That being said, if you're feeling like a dick, respectful dick, you can also give me money to give the players disadvantage to their rolls or give me advantage to my rolls or make it harder for them. So that's totally up to you. It's honor system for the players, and I guess whether that's reported. So, you know, let me know if the audience has made it hard for y'all.
Well, we'll just go ahead and start straight off with Duke Fleek with 500 bytes, because obviously you are correct, Lady Bedivere. This has to be bytes. Yes, that is effectively a advantage roll for us.
Cool, it's banked. We're gonna put it in the bank, spend it when you need it. This is the sort of game where you have to choose that you've used advantage in advance. So when you have an important roll, know that you've got that advantage. And if I'm very nice, I might remind you that you've got that advantage banked up. And someone gives some to me too, so the players don't just steamroll this session. I think that's it for now. Everything else, is there anything else that I should talk about before we get this thing started? Players, how are you feeling?
Let's
Cool.
go.
I see some thumbs. I'm gonna get some music going. We'll see how this feels.
Oh yeah, this is also a little bit different for me. I'm letting Sam actually have control over the music. He gave me a ton of things to download and turn into loops, and he's running it over on Roll20. So if the music is too overwhelming, please let me know. I will turn it down on my end.
Yeah, don't worry. It's already not working for some reason. Play, will you? Play.
I'm hearing it.
Are you?
I'm hearing it.
Great. I'm not hearing it. That's stressful. Let me reload
Maybe
roll
you're
20.
in streamer mode.
Boy, streamer mode was playing Mad Hob with my stuff earlier.
Be prepared for me to be like a 70-year-old man when it comes to technology, everyone. Let's go music.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fog. It covers the city like a cold blanket, seeping down between skyscrapers to chill the hearts of the thousand worker ants, hiving below, striving to rise in the futile enterprise of corporate mediocrity that engrids the city like asphalt concrete or a prison gate. Fog is a ceiling, reflecting the green neon lights of the rain-slick city streets back upon themselves in twisted mockery. A funhouse glare, a sick restaurant trick to make this compressed and stagnant world seem larger on the inside. Some climb, smiling, hand over hand up corporate ladders to meet the fog man to man, cancerous mid-level offices on the shaft of high-rise phalluses. Some start off in those heights, bolstered by double helixed fate. And some few, it's said, rise to those levels. They see no city, no tired, no poor, no huddled masses yearning. They see only themselves, angels, bewinged, bedight, in that same trick of the fog that encompasses the world below. Now zoom in. Down, beneath the fog. Downtown, in a place once known as San Francisco, a designation since sterilized to the corporate sill scent, the seizing heart of the free state of Silicon. Down to the quivering loins of the city, where the scents of 100 cuisines commingle with a stench of drugs, despair, and human excrement. Here there is a building stuffed and cramped with an anonymous multitude, but below that a howlway with 4 doors beside the egress to the city beyond. 3 of the doors once led to venues of a human art now suppressed, half forgotten, a music, a performance, a culture not controlled by the megacorporations, and therefore swept away with the flick of a mass market wrist. Behind the 4th door, a tiny tap room holds on tooth and nail, barely more than a short bar, 6 tables, and a 1-person stage. It is a forsaken place, a forgotten place, and that's why you have been called here to no exit today. You all know Ez Munoz, one way or another, as a fixer who has lined you up with work, supplies, or information. They say they've got a job lined up, low danger, high creativity, and so it happens that each of you has about 1 month of rent piled up in 10s and 5s, and nothing beyond that to your name. So, it's tempting to at least hear out what Ez has on offer. I'm curious, which of your characters shows up first?
It's probably me.
Yeah. Give us a mental image. As you walk down the alleys, arrive at this cramped hallway with a bouncer outside. Who are you? What do you look like?
Lorelei Mortimer, kind of nonchalantly walks through the alleys, hands in her pockets, heading towards where Ez, called for her to be. She's a tall woman, not wearing what you would expect somebody to be living in a, cyberpunk world to wear. She's in a button-down shirt, slacks and suspenders. The one thing that really does stand out about her is her bronze right arm and the wires connected in her face along the right side of her temple. She walks up to the bouncer.
Would you have come to this place before, Lorelei? Is this a haunt or is this a new location for you?
I feel like Lorelei's been kind of everywhere. At least
Yeah.
tries to be. So she's been here before. Maybe not like a lot, but enough that people would know who
Nice.
she is.
Yeah, so you see the bouncer wearing his dark suit, covering up implied chrome. This is a world where many people have modifications of some kind, though I think perhaps few as distinctive as what you're wearing, Lorelei, as your arm. This guy, just another mook on the streets. He'll nod at you, he knows you, he'll gesture you into the bar.
I will
It's-
walk in.
It's empty today. There's the usual guy behind the counter pouring drinks, cheapest of the cheap. You can see Ez already sitting at a table, sort of impatiently tapping their fingers. Ez, in their 50s, weathered skin, voice like whiskey. The most distinctive thing about them, whiskey or pickled rocks. Most distinctive thing about them is that they have on the back of their neck scars from a poorly installed cranial jack. So, kind of wrapping up around their neck into the back, these scars. They'll nod at you as you come in and say, Lore, it's been a minute. How's business with that silly gang of yours?
Definitely has its ups and downs, that's for sure.
Yeah? You in
Yeah.
ups or downs right now?
Middle. Got caught in a few things. Not good for the bosses. Especially when shooting is involved.
I watched a live stream of the action at that Krask Burger on 66th.
Of course you did.
That sure was something.
Sure was. Very interesting man showed up.
Who shows up next here? You're not all showing up
Feel
late.
like it's Eve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Give me a vibe. What you looking like, Eve, as you roll in?
Yeah, Eve is wearing black slacks with a tailored blazer, very prominent shoulder pads. Sharp, so sharp you might cut yourself on them. She is wearing black gloves, dressed all in black. Looks very professional. Curly hair.
Nice. Same question, right? So the bouncer at the door, is this a place that you would he know you? Have you been here before, or are you a new face to him?
I think this would be a new place for Eve. Don't think they'd have been here before.
All right. So the bouncer will kind of look you up and down. You're clearly not the sort of person who usually rolls in here downtown. And he'll just bark out the word name.
Um, Eve. Eve Beaumont?
Beaumont, Miss Beaumont. And he will push open the door and allow you in.
I will enter, take off my gloves, look around for Ez, see Lore. Oh.
Oh,
Hi.
it's good to see you again.
Good to see you alive.
Me too.
Ez will smile a smile that's somewhere between a smile and a grimace as the two of you encounter. But they're also kind of nodding, like this was all sort of expected. They'll say, Eve, how's business?
Business is good. Could always be better, of course. How are you? How's the neck?
Yeah, old
I know a
wound.
guy.
If I had a Z coin for every guy I know, I
Darling, I
appreciate
understand.
I appreciate your concern. It's fine. It flares up when I'm in a bad mood, but I'm not in a bad mood, and I'm not going to be in a bad mood today.
That's definitely good to hear.
And they'll let that sit on the table. Who's next in?
I think I'm the next one who shows up.
Yo, give me the sitch.
So GlitchAngle rolls up to the place. She is, as many of my characters are, quite short, about 5'2", somewhere in that neighborhood, and looks like the most like flashy influencer you can imagine with the cyberpunk aesthetic. I'll let your brain do what it pleases with that until I actually figure out what the exact look is. And yeah, she rolls up to the bar. This is a place that she's been thrown out of a few times.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. That's what I like. The bouncer will sort of eye you as you roll in. Do you even like stop for him or do you just roll past him?
I will give him that like hi, I'm invited little look as I just keep moving.
Yeah, you'll notice that he tries to keep his face sort of in shadows, knowing that anything that he says or does anywhere in your proximity could wind up being blasted out to the world. He's probably like lost a girlfriend to that in the past.
Yeah, he and I have a particular issue with each other. The first time he threw me out, I made a point of losing him his current girlfriend.
So he will give you the stink eye as you enter, and as you roll into the room, again, tiny room. You go down a cramped hallway, first door to the left, couple of chairs and tables, an empty stage with a seat on it where someone could have a very small, maybe like guitar or some sort of instrumental performance. Everyone who's in here is the bartender, Ez Munoz, and the two members of the party that are assembling.
Eyebrows kind of go up as I look at Lorelai and Eve. Well, as you certainly have pulled together an interesting collection of people already. Grab a chair, flip it around backwards, and sit on it.
I think it'll
Please
be a
tell me
special.
that thing's not on.
Not currently.
Oh, it's. Don't trust it.
Ez will smile grimace again to that.
You knew who you
As we'll say.
invited.
as we'll say, I do know who I invited. I think you'll find that you know who I invited too. Who's next in?
Abe, would you have asked for a ride?
I think at this point, yeah. You're the closest thing Abe has to a friend slash acquaintance slash someone not trying to kill him.
We have had a conversation before.
Slash
Yes.
native guide to the strangeness of San Francisco.
It's been a few months since the events that transpired in the past, but you know, it's been a rough few months, I think, especially for Abe. For all of you, the jobs have been dry. Many things have been afoot out in the world, but nothing has trickled down to the bottom of the buildings of the scenario of the world out here. So, Abe, yeah, how does that scene take us back? How did you hit up Vale for a ride?
All right, so I'd like to think Vale was good enough to provide their like contact information in a rare, non-trash panda-y, moment of compassion. Because, Abe again is this man in his mid-50s. He's got scars all over. First time everyone had made his acquaintance, he was bleeding. You know, that'll melt even the iciest heart, I think.
I think you got Vale's info through Eve. I think Eve passed it on in a like, I know they're kind of weird, but they're good if you need help.
So, with that in mind, I assume Abe then just rocks up to wherever Vale makes base and goes, "Hey, kid, uh, remember me?"
Hard to forget, buddy. Are everything okay? You're
Uh,
not bleeding this time. That's good. I like that. I like not bleeding.
Yeah, that hot doctor friend of yours. Bang up
Oh,
job.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And let's roll it back a step. Let's get a description of what Abe looks like, give us a vibe, and then we'll switch over to Vale, and then we'll continue the scene.
So again, Abe is a gentleman in his mid-50s, the veteran of too many wars and other regrettable actions. And the only possessions he has are, his firearms and the fatigues on his back, basically, and a big satchel to handle everything and all the goodies that'll come. So, conspicuously not all chromed out, for reasons I'm sure the viewers will learn in due time.
And this conspicuously non-chromed out figure walks up to the most conspicuous vehicle you can find in this land of automated cars, which is a absolutely thrashed looking Winnebago that is parked in a side alley in downtown Silsent. And when the door's knocked on and the door opens, the figure that opens it kicks open like the passenger side from the driver's side of the vehicle, can only be described as possibly a raccoon in an oversized black hoodie and some oversized gray sweatpants. There are, presumably this is a human. It's really hard to tell. They are of indeterminate gender, young, but age kind of indeterminate, past teenagerdom, but maybe only just. And there's just a lot of hair and a lot of eyeliner, and weird little pops of metal and chrome that might be accessories, technological or decorative, that just sort of flash and glint occasionally under all of the like oversized clothing. And that is Vale.
The word scrungly, I think, was used a couple of
Scrungly
times.
was the primary adjective used for this character.
So underneath the fog of the city, this scene is happening probably in some junkyard or out of the way place alley. Abe, you've knocked on the door, and I will let you continue the scene from where I was so rudely interrupted.
No, yeah, glad you're not bleeding. No, Eve's great. They really do a good patch up job. You need something? Because I was about to head out to a thing.
Yeah, so here's the thing, kid. I've not been back in town for all of a couple of months now. When, lo and behold, some flying robot comes up to me and gives me an invite to what used to be called the Devil's Bunghole down in the Castro. But for whatever reason, I don't know why anyone A would know that I'm here, and B request me to come to what used to be a dive bar back way before you were born. So I'm a little confused with all this technological stuff. They didn't let us have this back in Washington.
Oh, can I take a look at that? Did they drop you a USB? Did they just plug into your jack? Like how did they get you the message?
Yeah, I don't let anyone plug into the jack before the first date.
That's
But
valid. I think that's a really good policy to have, honestly.
here, I was given this little flash drive. I think you could plug it into something if you want.
Vale will take the flash drive and pop it into their scrap deck link. They've got like I like to think they've got like a weird kind of like octopus tentacle of a variety of just different like basically USB plugins so that they can just pop a bunch of different things in at once.
I love that.
And so just like pops it into one of the free ones, and is just gonna do like a quick run of like, does anything about this seem sketchy? Is it malware? And I am guessing is gonna notice that this looks identical to one that I also received in one of my dead drops.
Precisely so. It is a perfect mirror of the one that you received, except for the fact that Abe's, unlike yours, has written on the outside how to use it, essentially.
Great. Okay. I don't know if this is good news or bad news, bud, but we're going to the same place. So, hop in, I guess. I don't even have to put down newspaper because you're not bleeding this time. Seatbelt's not working though, so you just want to grab those bungee straps and just kind of like link them together in front of you.
All right, if you say so.
Be careful if you come in through the back. Reeves is a little like skittery today.
Lewison, what are we seeing when you say Reeves? Where does the camera point?
If Abe kind of like peeks into the back from like the passenger seat, you see that in the back of the Winnebago there is a really jacked up looking Roomba with a giant kitchen knife duct taped to it that is like going into one of the cabinets in the back.
Yeah. It's stuck and it's looking for the dock algorithm. So every once in a while it will just say docking, docking, and then stab the wall, and then say docking, docking, and then stab the wall again. And that, like, you can see where it has woodpeckered its way into the wall of the Winnebago with its dagger stuck out of the top of it.
It's a real funny looking dog, kid.
Yeah, sometimes they just hop in the back and they don't leave again.
And with such banter, you make your way across town, essentially like a fish trying to swim upstream against the never-ending flow of automated cars that suffuse, that clog the streets of the city wherever you look. The amount of time it takes to get anywhere by car probably be faster to walk if you had the endurance. Though walking through the streets of the city can be dangerous, especially at night. It's moving in towards night as you arrive at this bar. I know that. Yeah.
I will drop I will drop Abe off, and then I will go find a place to park because it's gonna take a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Abe, you are confronted by this bouncer. Looks like a standard order bouncer, other than, again, his coat sort of bulging in strange places as if with a threat or a promise of cyberware underneath.
Oi, big boy. I was told to come over here. You know, this used to be a watering hole well before you were born. You folks still have the 2-for-1 special.
Name.
Serial number ABW5101776. Major, United States Army.
He will blink. A moment will pass. It's as if he's consulting some list in his head, and then he'll nod and let you in. He doesn't frisk you. He doesn't stop you from carrying anything particular in. He'll just jerk his head and gesture you inside.
He goes inside.
Yeah, you find the crew. This is while Vale is circling down the streets trying to find. On a scale of 1 to 10, how legal do you care about this parking being?
I can bust any like tire lock that they try to put on this thing. So I'm just looking for enough space that I'm not going to immediately get rammed by the flow of traffic. So empty driveway, patch of road, like I'll off-road it into a vacant lot, like whatever's first and most convenient. If it looks like
Yeah.
it's got connections to like gang territory with somebody that I'm not on bad terms with, I will definitely take that because I know I've got some hookups.
Yeah, I don't think any of the gangs that like you are around here in Silsent, so downtown. So I think you're just gonna like put your car, this might be someone's driveway, it might be a garage, certainly not a public garage, but you got it stored away for now, and you make your way in. Abe, you see, and then Vale, you see a few moments after the crew assembling, people who are familiar to you from the one time that you all met, and the experience you had there.
I believe in coincidences. I don't trust coincidences. Fancy seeing you lot here.
I
Abe,
was thinking the same thing.
how are you?
Well, my dear, considering it looks like my hometown has been turned into a technological, mechanized, corporate ruled,
Mm.
whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
still haven't been able to locate a decent burger. I'd say pretty good.
Hey, I got you a great burger and don't you forget it, says Vale, who is like palming a dime bag into the bouncer's hand and just walking straight in.
I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
confident that they were made out of beef, kid.
I didn't say it was a beef burger.
The bouncer will wink at you grotesquely, Vale, as you enter the room. As you have all assembled, Ez will sort of clear their throat and say, "Yeah, all right. So let's get down to brass tacks. It's no coincidence that you are all here. I saw your actions by way of live stream at the Krask Burger on 66 Deep East, and I was intrigued. I saw people who've got a certain set of skills. I saw people who've got a certain set of instincts. I saw, in a word, people who I thought would be useful for a job and perhaps be interested in a job. I'm Ez Munoz. I know most of you. Abe, I don't know that we've met yet. But if you want to get things done in this town, we would have soon enough. Long story short, I have a job. At the end of this job, you'll get a lot of money. At the end of that money, I don't know what happens. Maybe you fix up your car. Maybe you get some new cyberware installed in you. Maybe you buy certain drugs that you need. That one's thrown to Eve. Maybe you try to make this place better in some way. Or I don't know, maybe you just blow it all on booze. That's not my concern. But if you're interested in maybe doing a little bit of work on the southwest side of the law, let's talk. If you are not interested in that, now would be a good time to walk out that door, wave goodbye to Charlie on the way, and we don't need to have any more business with each other.
Eve will brush off the crumbs, non-existent crumbs on the chair near her, and sit down and cross her legs. I heard money. I'm listening.
Ez will smile.
The real question is how much money?
Ha, cutting right to the chase. I like that. It's a rush job. It requires some technical expertise. You pull it off, there's 20,000 Z's to split between you. Do I have your fucking attention? Great. They will say, they'll kind of like hold court now with all of you assembled around. They'll say there's not a whole lot of ways to get around Silicon. Obviously, more methods of transit the higher up you go. The job I've got lined up pertains to one of those moderately high-level modes of transit. Tell me, how do you feel about trains?
Are you seriously inviting us on some sort of train heist?
They will smile again.
Oh, good.
They'll
We're back to the outlaw days. Love it.
We're doing this classic style. You are not holding up a train. Well, you are holding up a train in a certain sense of the word. The gig is on Silicon Valley Rapid Transit, aka Sivarat. Sivarat is maintained as an independent transport for middle management types, a way to get around from Sil East to Sil Cent faster than you can on the self-driving cars without needing to have something like a chartered helicopter. Middle of the road. Various lines above ground and underground. Your job in 3 days' time is to board the 10:06 p.m. 6-car westbound train from Wokeland Station. This will require you to get on the train by some means. Normally, they're restricted to folks who have a subscription of some kind. I'll leave that up to you. Then, using whatever methods you deem necessary, you will cause that train to stop at the abandoned train station underneath Treasure Island for 1 minute and make sure the doors get open. That's it. You can call the mission a success when the train pulls into Embark Station a minute late, and you waltz off of it. And they'll kind of sit back.
How much does this fuckover drive on? Or is this gonna help them?
They'll smile. Great question. Obviously, I can't let you know who the employer is. Obviously, I can't let you know what bigger things are at work here. But I have reason to believe that at least one of the corpos is going to be pretty upset about this slight delay. Needless to say, there are more wheels in motion here than you need to know for this. But do the job well, cleanly, effectively, and, well, drive on owns transit. And they don't like it when the trains don't run on time.
Yeah, okay.
So Abe, taking stock of the situation, right? Taking note of his companions, looks back at Ez and asks them, all right, look, the set of kids seems more than capable of doing what it is that you need them to do. What the hell do you need with an old soldier who doesn't have any robotics stuck to him?
You think it's the robotics that qualifies you for this? You think it's the robotics that qualifies anyone for anything?
I mean, I'm just some guy. I'm just trying to go home.
Yeah, about that. You don't have a home, Abe. This is your home now. You can choose to live with that or you can choose to wander off, but I think you're going to stick around. And frankly, again, I saw the way that you all worked back at that Kraskburger. You weren't on the same side. You weren't expecting any sort of trouble. Abe, you started the trouble. And the way I saw it, looking through GlitchAngle's eyes, the trouble needed starting. And that's why I've hired you for this. I think it's going to be a pretty simple mission. I think the op is supposed to be straightforward. But there are always unknowns, there are always things I don't know. And I need someone on the job who acts fast. And I think that's you.
Good enough for me.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
That's right. Let's just say that some of you are my plan for the best, and they'll kind of shoot a look at GlitchAngle. And some of you are my plan for the worst, and they'll shoot a look kind of towards Abe and maybe Lore as well for that. Noticeable glance down at the arm.
I have a question for God.
Sam
Yeah,
loves
That's
it.
out of my
all.
pay grade, but
Sam loves
yeah.
it when you call him that.
Well, it's different in every system, and I don't remember what it is in this system. So
We'll
in every
just go
system,
with
it's
Game
God.
Master. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. Is Eve familiar with and would have taken Sivarat in
that's
their
a good
previous
question.
life?
I don't think any of you got, in your various corporate histories, I don't think any of you got to the level of middle management that would entitle you to a Siva Rat pass. Normally, you would know what they look like Eve, you would probably know what they look like. Lore, um, veiled probably through different means, GlitchAngle as well. It would look like a thumb drive sort of device that you would stick into a machine, jack it in to open the doors, and that would give you your pass onto and off of the Siva Rat. Usually they're handed out as perks for promotion when you reach a certain level. They're not something you can just buy on the streets under normal circumstances. It sounds like Ez is, as part of this mission, entrusting you to either find five of those thumb drives to get on, or find some other way onto the train that doesn't involve going through the front gates.
Copy that. Thank you.
Glitch, I'm going to say that your backstory is actually too high class. You wouldn't have messed around with these. You would have been whatever the next level of transit up
Oh yeah,
is.
absolutely. I think I may have seen one of the people who worked with my parents have one of those once, but otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
that method of
Siva rats for the help.
transportation, yeah, that never came into the walled garden.
Very good. Ez is open for any more questions that you have. Otherwise, they will signal for a round of drinks to arrive and say, oh, by the way, just to be clear, I'm hoping that one of the upshots of this is that it turns out that I'm not full of shit and you all do work well together. If that happens, if you pull this off, I may have more work for you in the future along these and other lines.
I hope you don't just mean train lines, because if that's your whole business, I'm gonna be out real quick.
They will sort of smirk at that and say, I've got my thumbs in a lot of pots, Vale. Trains is just one of them.
Did I'm trying to remember if they said what the time frame is on this, when this is
Yeah,
supposed to
it's
happen?
the train you're looking for is Friday, 3 days from now.
Got it.
It's the 10:06 train, at least if you're boarding it on in Wokeland Station. It is westbound into the city, into Silsent.
So we just need to stop a train. That's all.
That's all. That's the mission. They'll say, I wouldn't necessarily expect that to be easy. I don't know how to stop a fucking train. That's for you guys to figure out. I don't know if that involves intimidating the operator. I don't know if that involves hacking it. That's, again, up to you. My job is just to find the people to do the thing. You're the people. That's the thing.
How long does it need to stop in Angel Island for?
1 minute, give or take. It's not a, stopwatch sort of thing as I'm given to understand. Make it stop for a bit, let that play out, and then keep it going again.
But the door's gotta open.
Doors gotta open. The employer was very specific about that. Again, how you do that is up to you. I don't know if that's hacking. I don't know if that's physically pulling them open. Means are in your hand. I should say, this doesn't have to get messy. They will look at Abe as they say that. There'll be security on the train, I would imagine. I wouldn't go around just shooting everyone in the head like you do. They're just jobbers like the rest of us.
To hammer every problem is a nail, so.
Yeah. Well, that's up to your discretion. I'll be watching. They will glance again at GlitchAngle. One of the many benefits of having doesn't even supply a noun there, just kind of waves vaguely at GlitchAngle. One of the benefits is I get to monitor the mission pretty closely.
So she's coming along as your personal spy cam?
Among other things.
I'm coming along as everyone's personal spy cam, really.
I think you'll find that GlitchAngle has many talents.
Yes, she better. My scrap deck was fucked up for a week after the last plug-in.
You asked to plug in with me. I didn't offer, you asked.
By now the drinks have arrived, and Ez will say, right, well, um, we've said yes, right? You're all in? Again, if you're not in, things are tricky now that I've told you the nature of the op. They'll look at the people who have not explicitly said yes yet, so probably like Lore.
Of course I'm in. Enough money, I can do anything.
They'll
I'll have to
say,
reschedule a regular, but it'll be fine.
right. The drinks will land on the table, as will say, well, I'll leave it to you to figure out how you want to do this then. I won't be far if you want to shout at me. But get to know each other. Find a way to work well as a team. Develop some kind of plan for how you want to do this. And be seeing you. And again, with a sort of nod towards GlitchAngle's eyes, they will make eye contact with each and every one of you. You will see that as they share this moment with each of you, there is a degree of not desperation, but something a couple of degrees short of desperation. Uh, Hope tinged with anxiety in their eyes as they look at each of you, nod at you, swig down their own beer, and then head out the door.
So, stopping a train. Thoughts?
First thought is to maybe get at least one of those thumb drives. Because if we can get one person on the train, then we might be able to sneak other people on after.
I actually have an idea for how we might be able to get everyone on without ever having to go through a gate. Have you heard of urban explorers? They film and stream all the ways that you can get under the city and around without ever having to once touch streets. Using some of the old ways.
Urban exploring is a dangerous sport here in 2074, and the streamers who do it know it, right? Like this is a place where any area that's not controlled by the corpos tends to be controlled by one or more gangs. That being said, different gangs have different practices, different procedures when it comes to allowing people into the secret parts of their turf. So that is certainly a way that you could explore. It might involve some negotiation depending upon how you want to get in.
If you want, I can start scrubbing some of the streams and the VODs of people that I know who operate in and around that sort of area and see if I can find a reasonable path onto a train.
Doesn't hurt to look into that way, just in case. But I think we should have options in case something fails.
Agreed. More options, more fail-safes.
I wonder if there's you know how the corporations like their lists. There's a list somewhere of people who have access to this mode of transportation, and if we might make friends.
There would
Vale,
almost
is
certainly
that something that you might have access to?
Who are you asking?
Vale.
Vale is sort of like Vale has like hunched over their drink. Eve for sure clocked, maybe anybody else did, that something else went into the drink that was not just drink, and is like taking the sips and just kind of glaring off at the door, and will just kind of be like, yeah, I can look for a list. If you can get one drive, I can make it maybe multiple drives, but that are all the same drive, so you don't ever have too many records. We don't want too many records. I might have something back in the back in Ackroyd that'll help us from back in the old days before I did this, when I did other things. I don't know. They might have changed. It's been a minute.
Sam, would I know anybody?
Probably the level above you back when you were in the corporate world would have access to this. I believe you have a former boss
I
over
do.
at Consolidated Gas and Electric.
Yep, I
That's
certainly do.
that's the sort of level that would have access to this thing, this drive. Is that something you're volunteering out to the group, or is that just
No,
percolating in your brain
this
right
is
now?
between you and me, God.
Uh-huh,
Um,
uh-huh.
uh, would I know enough of her schedule to figure out certain things?
I mean, I guess I'm gonna throw that back to you. Like, you know what her schedule would be inside the CG&E compound. The
Sure.
CG&E compound is perhaps one of the most highly defended places inside of the whole Silicon State. Fort Point is like literally a corporate fortress. So breaking into there in order to get this would be like, I don't know, breaking into Fort Knox in order to get a candy from a vending machine. That being said, would you know like where she lives? Would you know what her schedule is outside Fort Point?
Going off my own corporate life, um, I think maybe if she was in a similar position that I am in, uh, where I know enough about her personal life to know where she lives and what routes she kind of takes at times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like everyone else, she uses a drive-on automated vehicle most of the time to get from her place to other places. That being said, she lives across the bay from Fort Point. She lives in Mtem, which is where I believe you're from as well. So the easiest way for her to get to work would definitely be taking the Siva rat underneath the bay and popping up where she needs to be. You know where she lives.
Okay, I'm thinking.
All right. I'm gonna spin it around, Abe. I just kind of wonder, this is all very new to you. What's going through your head in this moment as everyone's sitting around the table, sort of mulling over their drinks, pondering avenues for this thing?
Well, a few things. I mean, for one, for as much as has changed back home, it's strangely comforting to know that getting a public transit train in San Francisco is still notoriously difficult. But other than that, it's all Greek to Abe. All he knows is he doesn't like trains, he doesn't like lists, and if the intent is for him to be the hammer in all this, well, he's gonna leave it up to the group to find him some nails.
Right on.
But he basically keeps to himself as the folks over here hammer out the outlines of a plan, the concepts of a plan, if you will.
I won't.
I wouldn't.
Uh, yeah, so I've heard a couple of different avenues towards this. You've got 3 days, so you can pursue a few of them at the same time. The questions that I'm gonna ask now are like, who's doing what, who's going solo, and who's bringing folks with them. Give me some angles on this thing.
Glitchy ones, even.
Hopefully not, other than in your specific case.
I think I just volunteered to be first. So. I'm gonna once we. I think I do part ways with the rest of them because I don't really know any of them or what they can really do besides the fact that Vale fucked up my deck last time. That took a little while to replace and put back together, but I will go to where I consider to be safe and plug into other streamers. And I imagine that the urban explorer community is small, much like it is now, and I would be able to be like, okay, who's on which side of the bay, and track down who would be in the Wokeland area, and maybe exploring some of the buried basements, old access points, all of that sort of stuff. See what gang territory that's in, and when I know that, I can start bringing in people that I'm aware are in gangs.
Yeah. Let me have the first roll of the game
Oh my
happen now.
god.
Which is going to be a skill roll. So a skill roll is on 2d6 in this system.
Okay.
Unless for some ungodly reason you want to spend the advantage right now, but no, it's way too soon for that.
It's far too soon for
Um,
that.
it's a skill roll. We're going to call this intelligence and no. Or if you prefer, it's going to be the same either way. So intelligence and no. You don't have the no skill, so that
Correct.
will come down to a -1. Don't worry, this is probably an easy difficulty level, but with increasing chances of me telling you useful stuff as you get higher and higher.
And in this system, and just so I say it out loud, this is rolling 2d6, and I'm
That's right.
aiming at whatever DC you've set. So,
Normally they're 8s. This one's going to be a 6. 6 is like the easy difficulty
and
level.
then I got a 10,
And then you got a 10.
which
I'm
is
going
a
to tell you some
-1, so
things.
that's 9.
-1. Yeah, very good. So that's one level of success. What you are seeing is that, yeah, let me actually ask you this. Are you coming into it from the side of, uh, from the Sil East side or the Sil Cent side? Like, are you looking for people who are exploring the East Bay or
Sure.
San Francisco area?
I'm looking for the East Bay specifically just because we were told that we needed to get in and around the Wokeland station, which for modern day is West Oakland BART, in and around that area, and it has to stop at Treasure Island heading into the city. So I'm looking for anything that can get me on in the East Bay side.
Right on. So what you're going to find out is that there are two gangs who have historically controlled much of the Wokeland Deep East area, and those two gangs are the Jacks and the Fairy Boys. These are groups who various members of this party have connections with, enmities, what have you. Um, they have been at war, two households, both alike in complete lack of dignity, for as long as anyone remembers. But what you're getting at this higher level of the know is that there's actually a third gang that's been moving in. This third gang has gained a lot of territory in a fairly short amount of time, a lot of speculation about how that's possible. This gang is called the Mazers. And it just so happens that most of the territory where the Siva Rat is underground is controlled by Mazers. They tend to have territory around the freeways, the congested freeways, but also many of the old sewers, some of the area, the hidden tunnels around Lake Merritt. That's where the Mazers are. So it just so happens that they'd be who you'd have to go through
Okay.
if you wanted to break in through tunnels or something like that.
Okay.
I'm going to say that that information, like tracking through the various feeds, it's going to take several hours. So you're into the next day as you're developing all of this. Who else is doing what during that time? And also tracking back a bit, how did you decide how you're going to like meet up or where you're going to meet up as a group?
Would I'm assuming that Vale probably has some set, like, haunts where I know that I can park the Winnebago safely. Either I've worked out deals with the gangs I'm connected to, or just I know it's like a corner that nobody gives a fuck about.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vale would maybe give, like, 2 of those pin drops, essentially, to the group, and probably do a, like, I will be at this. I will be here at this point in 24 hours, and I will be here at this point in 48 hours. That can be a meeting point or not, up to you fuckers. And like, peace out.
Nice, nice. Your car has not been towed in the time. Your Winnebago has not been towed in the time it took to have the meeting.
Less.
Somewhere you have like a collection of parking tickets that drive on, which also controls, where people who have vehicles are allowed to park. Like they have seized the ability to give parking tickets. I don't think you've ever paid one of those, so it's just like a nifty little like file folder you've got somewhere.
I I was to say, would that I think Vale at least thinks that they have figured out a way to erase those. And that
Oh,
was one of the
sure.
few things that they retained after they left.
I mean, there's never been a follow-up, so you at
Yeah,
least have either they're ignoring you or you have found a way to erase
yeah.
those.
Um, and since I have my mic open, I will continue. I think Vale also leaves unless somebody else stops them. I think Vale will like chug their doctored beer and then slink out on their own. Um, and head out. And I think Vale's gonna go down the raccoon hole, as it were. No rabbits in this game, unfortunately, everyone. That's a
No,
different that's a different channel. I'm gonna
they
go
all died out.
yeah, I'm gonna go down the possum hole, into my dumpster, and I'm going to comb through whatever code I ganked when I left. Like when I like copied as much as I could before I corrupted drives and disappeared. And see if I think I have any way either to reconstruct like an access drive to give me a pass, or if I think that if I were able to get a functional one, would I be able to like replicate it in a way that like if we can get a hold of one, can I give that 5 entries without it being like trackable? Like I'm gonna start looking for like, can I code our way out of the
Sure.
problem.
Yeah, give me int and program to code your way out.
Int and program. I gotta go find. I went to reach for my normal dice, and that is not correct.
I
uh,
rolled another 12. How weird.
I just haven't had to do online rolling in so many ages. Let's see if this works.
It's all good.
Uh, that is a 9+1 for my program. We said so 10.
10. 10 is solid. You're going to find two things. The first and easier of those things is if you had one of these USBs, it takes a little bit of work to clone it because the system is good enough, probably. Again, this is not necessarily from the code that you're digging through. This is just knowledge of code in general.
Yeah.
If you were to duplicate it exactly, it wouldn't work. They would recognize that there's two of the exact same thing. So you'd have to doctor it a bit.
Mhm.
If you had one, you'd have the time to make one more, maybe two more if you got the one real soon. But just the amount of sheer coding weight that would be required to turn it over means that you can't really do five of them or four of them in that time. You can get a couple. The more interesting thing, as you're digging into those old files, you're not seeing anything that would imply that Drive-On is now or ever was the owner of Sivarat.
Okay, that is actually gonna send Vale down a different raccoon hole of
Uh-huh.
trying to possibly even to the point of reaching out to other hacker contacts, a thing that they don't like doing unless they have to, but reaching out to see if they can figure out what corp, if any, does have investment in Severat, because while Vale would particularly love to screw over Drive On, if there's any corpo involved, they're fine with this. If this is like
Yeah.
an independent program that is somehow maybe beneficial, they're gonna at least have pause. I don't think so based on that middle management level, but like, you know.
No, it's worth checking in. Give me a. This is going to be Wisdom and Connect. I think probably not one of Vale's strongest suits. Sorry, Charisma and Connect. Not one of Vale's strongest suits necessarily.
No, I believe this is a flat. It's not as bad as Dex. That is a flat 5.
All right. Yeah, so the moral of the story is you start putting out feelers. A lot of people just don't want to talk to you. Vale, how many other hackers have you wronged over the course of your career? Like, do you get the drop on people, or why do people not want to deal with you?
So not to get too deep into backstory, I will just say that I do not. I think I have one connection who is listed as friendly on my character sheet, and everyone else
Uh-huh.
is neutral to highly negative. Um, I think the other hackers don't want to talk to Vale because Vale is constantly punching holes in them. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like Vale is in fact very good and very deep cover. And I think the other hackers don't want to deal with Vale because they like Vale's a ghost and they don't want to get involved with someone that they can't find. Um, so
It sounds right.
it's really hard to get anyone to respond to my messages unless they actively want something that they can't do themselves.
So what you're gonna find is very few people are responding if someone knows they're not responding, but the people who do get back to you are essentially saying, this is a weird mystery. This has kind of always been a weird mystery. No one thinks they're independent because how could they be? Like, they're too potentially valuable, they're too potentially interesting, but anyone who's ever dug into the history of these guys, of this Siva rat, just finds a recursive chain of controlling corporations and umbrella corporations and holdings and just an impossible bureaucratic mess that no one's ever really had the time or interest to get to the bottom of.
I think with that information, then I'm assuming this all comes with before the first like checkpoint, that first 24-hour
Yeah, yeah.
checkpoint. I think I'm gonna put that all on a flash drive, and at some point, as I'm like making my way, because Vale is constantly moving from place to place, so that nobody ever really can get the drop on them. I think they are at some point going to drive by someplace that they know is like a Jack's hangout, and
Hmm.
hand that drive off to somebody who knows either Declan or who knows lore directly and ask that it get to lore. So at some point lore will get a drive that basically just has it like literally opens up, it's like a fucking word doc that
Uh-huh.
just says like nobody knows who owns this, it's not drive on, I don't think it's any of these places, there is no signature, it is super scrubbed, so there is no way to trace it, it's just this like weird blind drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. Laura, what are you up to if you're ready? If you're still thinking I can switch around to someone else.
Um, I think Laura's gonna do just a little bit of stalking,
Uh-huh.
just for fun. She's gonna try and kind of follow her ex-boss. Not she lives in the Thames like they both do kind of thing. So it could be just like, oh, they're in passing kind of thing. Um, but
Absolutely.
she wants to figure out if she can get that drive. If there's any way that she could even see where she keeps it kind of on her.
Nice. So the silicon, the free state of silicon is always, as we've established, covered in this layer of fog. Most of the places have a sort of dreary atmosphere to them, the neon lights. M10 is a little different. M10 is nice. One of the very few places that is nice, not super rich, but just reasonably pleasant. And one of the ways that they try to preserve their reasonably pleasantness is having essentially barricades blocking every entrance and exit to that district of the city so that no one who's not supposed to be there can get in. The good news is you're supposed to be there. You're allowed in. You're able to make your way past the barricades because you have. Oh, you tell us. Why are you allowed in M10? What's the sitch here?
I grew up there, so my father still lives in M10, and I also kind of still live with my dad because life do be life in as you do.
So you haven't burned all of your bridges in M10 despite the fact of various other actions you've taken later in your life.
Sure, yeah.
Uh, I would love for you to roll dice about it. And the
Okay.
dice I'd like you to roll is this isn't like sneaking, right? Like
No.
this is more just I can't think of a skill that I like better than sneak. Let's call this sneak for now, even though it's more of
Okay.
subtlety than like actual sneakery.
Okay. So, oh, I can't use that hand. Oh shit.
It's made of metal.
It doesn't like me. Okay.
It would normally be easy enough to follow someone depending upon what part of the city you're in, but again, there's a little bit more of a almost paramilitary presence in
Mhm.
MTEM. There are these guards around, supported by the district itself, so it's there's a little bit of a difficulty in remaining subtle.
I got
Tell
a
me about a number when
9.
you got one. 9.
Yeah.
Nine's fine. You're okay. Saving all the bad rolls for later. I like it.
Yes. When I
Yeah,
have to hop a train or something.
you're able to find the reasonably nice studio apartment a few floors up in MTEM. One of the basic sort of MTEM vibe places where there's on the ground floor shops catering to the locals, selling fairly decent goods compared to what you can get other places, and then elevators leading up to copy paste, very pleasant flats. One of those apartments, one of those studios, is where your former boss lives. You have rolled a 9, so you're good enough to be able to like know what specific building, what specific like window you'd have to punch through if you wanted to rob the place. Not that that's what
Sure.
your plan is.
No.
Um, I'm gonna say that probably takes your period of time unless you want to do something like now, right now with that information.
Is she home?
I mean, you followed her here, so you can see
Sure,
that she's
sure.
home, but you can also wait until she's not home and do a thing if you want to.
I would like to. I would like to see if I can get into her place.
Okay, right on. Gonna do some crimes. As she leaves, you do get the sense that she is moving roughly in the area of the nearest Siva Rat station. So if she's got a thing, she might have it on her. But
Shit.
don't let me stop you from like turning over her place just in case.
Sure. I I think that's probably the best thing for me to do, just in case. Just because she's heading that direction does not mean she's getting on the train.
Yeah, on a scale of well thought outness, right? So like as you are going up the elevator, you're in the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing multiple doors on the left and right. This is a place where middle management, decently well-to-do people live, so you'd imagine there's probably some kind of security camera, doors are going to be locked. Like, how aggro are we going on this?
She's walking as if she's supposed to be there, not super aggressive, not trying to like kick in a door. She knows better than that. Um, she'll do the thing where she'll like try to see if the door is unlocked, as
Yeah, oh,
people
it's not.
sometimes. Okay, that's fair.
No, always
Um,
worth trying, but yeah, you give it a rattle.
yeah.
This is the sort of door, this is the sort of future where it's probably a key card sort of scenario. Just a
Mm-hmm.
thumb drive that you stick in, not a physical key, but personal identification thumb drive unlocks a mechanical lock that's electronically opened.
Okay. Knowing that and knowing that she has nothing that could help her get in, I think she's gonna have to leave.
For
Uh,
now, you withdraw.
yeah, I'm gonna call Vale. Yeah, I'm gonna call Vale.
We'll hold up until the meeting. I want to hit the last
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
people first. But as you are leaving, the amount of time you've taken to chase your former boss down, it's near dead drop o'clock. It's near 24 hours.
sure.
Let me do Eve, and then I'll wrap around to Abe. Eve, what's the play for this day?
Um, well, our meeting was rather early. It ended around midnight.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, I would like to go see a friend. I'm gonna use my I know a guy.
Mm.
I would like to go see a friend. Her name is Selena, and she runs a house of pleasure that caters to middle management.
Nice. The House of Pleasure that caters to middle management, I am going to ironically call the Halfway House. Uh,
Okay.
do you have a particular preference for what part of town that's in?
Um, I don't think so. I will leave that up to your world building brain for it to fit wherever you think it fits best.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna just say that you were downtown, so you're probably gonna want to stick to somewhere nearby. You're gonna
Mhm.
head down into the dog patch. The dog patch is the part of Silsent that caters to various different needs, vices. There's a saying in Silsent that shit rolls downhill, and downhill of everywhere is the dog patch. So this is where people roll into when they need a good time, whatever that looks like for them. Uh,
Hmm.
Selena will allow you welcome you in, and say, "Well, Eve, what brings you around these parts?"
Thank you for seeing me, darling. I know it's the middle of your shift. Uh,
Slow
I,
night.
why is that? Is it just the day of the week?
She'll say, "It's the day of the week. It's I don't know, between you and me, Eve, there's something in the air. I don't know what it is. Everyone's on edge, everyone's nervous. In the corpse, mind you. I don't know what's going on for real people, but all these middle management types are tightening tightening their grip on the reins.
Mhm.
It's dark times, Eve. That's all I'm saying."
Well, you know what they say. We predict what happens in the economy. We see it before anybody else. And
She'll
if
nod.
there's
She'll say,
something, if there's something, if they're getting tight-fisted, then you know what that means. Hide your Z's under your mattress, darling.
she'll smile and she'll say, "But I'm sure you didn't come here just to talk about business and how it's going."
No, dear. I I need a favor of some kind. Not sure what yet. You know those funny little trains that your clients take?
She'll say, "I've never been on one of them Siva rats myself, but they sure do like scooting around on them, don't they?"
I know, they're fascinating. I, well, I have a client who has a fantasy? Not sure I should get into the details, but it involves trains. I know it sounds
Uh-huh.
rather silly.
No,
Um,
no, it's the common one. I hear about this all the time.
okay, well, it caught me by surprise. Clearly, he's been on one of these trains before, but all the gods know I haven't.
Between you and me, dear, boys love trains. They are always wanting to be on them, have little model trains scooting around on tracks. If I had a Z for every time someone was telling me about the train they had set up in their obnoxiously large living room area, well,
Oh,
I'd have a lot of Z's.
indeed. Well, I wondered if maybe you had a client or a connection to they have the little things that you put in the door. I need one.
She'll sigh. She'll say, "Well, yeah, I'm sure the clients of mine have them. What I'm trying to figure out is if you're asking me to make one of them disappear for a time."
Oh, I could do that myself. If you want to refer me, I would take the risk. Far be it from me to put any of that on your head. I don't have much time this week, but would Friday work?
You're gonna want to give me a roll, and that roll's gonna be talk and charisma, I think.
Okay. Okay, let me see. Uh,
Unless you want to do this the heavy duty way where you use your ability.
um, no, I'll use talk and charisma. They're
Okay.
zeros, so we'll see how this goes. And
Yeah,
I rolled
yeah.
2d6, yes?
You're rolling 2d6 flat. Yeah.
Huh? Uh, okay, hopefully I remember how to do this. Two, three.
It's okay.
No,
This is tutorial day.
I didn't remember how to do it. Hold on. Oh, slash roll.
There it is.
Aha. 6.
The dice will punish you. Yeah,
Oh,
so what she's gonna say is, listen, if I refer someone to you and they wind up having a complaint, that lands on me in my house. So, I want to find some way to work with you. I want to, hell, Eve, I like you. I like what you do. But I can't find a way that it doesn't reflect back poorly on me if someone goes around missing their little choo-choo pass.
no, no, you're right. You're right. Well, maybe I'll think on this more. My next thought is that perhaps I take one of your clients on the train. That won't pull it out of their possession, but I understand, darling. Thank you for your time. I sincerely
I mean, I'll,
appreciate it.
I'll, I'll I'll tell you what. Listen, I don't want to recommend anyone to you officially, but if you stand around outside long enough, you'll see people coming and going, and I don't know, you'll smell the train smell on them.
Oh, dear, you are so, so hilarious. Have you thought about stand up?
She'll say, "Girl, stand up, lying down, any old way."
I hate to poach any apparent interested clients, but if you're really all right with me standing outside, then I will.
I mean, to be clear, I would ask that you try to do whatever you're gonna do on the way out rather than the way in.
Yes, ma'am.
And she'll nod and, make polite chit chat for a few more minutes before shooing you out, delicately shooing you out so she can return to work. As you
Well,
leave her lushly appointed place of business, you can see indeed there are lots of anonymous people. The place is set up so no one ever has to see anyone else. You walk in, you see the person who you're here to see, and you're out again. But you can see, the lush seats, the places where the people would sit, and yes, indeed, maybe a slight waft of the indescribable smell of mass transit. Abe, without any particular goals, I just sort of wonder, like, are you wandering the streets, or what's Abe's day look like before he gets picked up again?
So here's the thing, right? Abe is totally in over his head here, right? He hasn't been back to the city in like 3 decades, and everything is strange and new and strangely shiny. But if he wants to be at all useful, he thinks that he's got to get a lay of the land, owing to his training, before embarking on a mission, before reaching and achieving objectives that he's been given. He has to reconnoiter. But the only real contacts he has here are the group that he's only known for all of like 2 hours and some change. So here's the deal. Abe used to go to high school in the city in the before times. So he's gonna attempt through, I don't know, some sort of public directory of some sort to find his old U.S. history instructor slash JROTC. I don't know what they're called. I was never in the military, but trainer, whatever.
Sure.
And they are Jay Anders Lopez. So hopefully he can get his bearings, maybe find out something about Severat. Maybe they have a pass. I don't know.
So you're gonna do this by essentially just like wandering around your old high school and scoping out the place?
I mean, in the absence of any, right? Look, we joke
No,
that
I'm
he's
I'm
a
so into that. Sorry, don't
right.
take that as like a criticism. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
very Abe.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the absence of any access to public directories, which I don't think would be a thing here, or maybe they would.
Not really. I mean, information you will find Back in your day, there was an internet where you can look things up. Nowadays, there are still nets, but they are highly balkanized. Everyone has their own net where you can find different information. Being able to track down even the right place to find information that you're looking for is difficult now. Uh, Additionally, other than the public nets that overlap the overlapping network web of public nets, there are a million private nets that you have to literally like jack into, right? The ubiquitous jacks that you've seen people like Vale use. So, finding information is itself difficult unless you know a guy or know where to look. It's a long walk through the streets of the city, Abe, to get back to your high school. It's a long walk that's not helped by the fact that it's cold. You're walking at night. You probably arrive there pre-dawn. How, what sort of a operation are you? Are you just like wandering around the outside of it? Are you literally like hunkering down and setting up a watch? How military is this?
I mean, as military as can be in the absence of a squad and materiel and air support and all the things that a modern military kind of needs to actually do anything worth a damn. That being said, yeah, I guess the best that Abe can do, given the circumstances, is set up shop close enough to observe the comings and goings of the various, hopefully, faculty and students if they didn't repurpose this into some sort of, I don't know, Soylent Green factory or whatever the hell.
Yeah, yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna give me a wisdom and survive roll.
Oh, yeah. That is a 2d6 as well, yes, God?
Yes, plus whatever your plus is.
Excellent. Gonna roll. Boom. Okay, so that's a 7 plus I have however many pluses for survive and wisdom. Okay, I guess that'd be an 8 total then.
I thought your wisdom was higher than that.
I thought so too.
What's to say for final mod for wisdom?
Oh, Jesus. Sorry. That's a 10. That's a 10.
There
It's
it
plus
is.
3.
Great. You are very wise.
Yes.
And here's the situation. What you're gonna realize pretty immediately is that school shut down. Uh, every school might be shut down. You're not sure that in the time that you've been back, you've seen an operating school. How are these kids learning anything? Are kids learning anything anymore? Are they just sending them to drudge work in the factories? That's not clear to you. It's shut down, but on a hunch, you stick around even though the school is shut down. That's where that high wisdom comes in. And you see, over the course of those hours in the morning, an old timer taking a walk with not an even older dog, that would be crazy, but like a very old, scraggly dog. And you recognize only by squinting that this old timer is Anders Lopez. Just walking. You don't even recognize them so much as you recognize the feeling of yearning that they are experiencing as they look at the school matches your own. A memory of a ghost of the past. They stop and look at the school for a moment, and that's when it clicks that this is your old teacher on a walk around the school.
All right. Well, now is as good a time as any for Abe to try and approach them and the dog.
Yeah. And this is a person in their 70s, right? Early 70s. So they are moving slowly. They don't seem to have any obvious chrome cyberware on their person, but maybe something internally hard to tell. The dog is just as ratty as a dog can be while still technically being a dog.
All right. Well, I'm trying as hard as Abe can not to scare them. He clears his throat. Get it, Captain.
The Anders Lopez will turn around and throw you just the most curious look and say, "It's been a hell of a lot of. It's been years since anyone called me that. The hell
Yeah.
are you?"
I mean, I don't know if you recognize me, but once upon a time, I was a student of yours. Back in what we used to call the good old USA.
Well, if that's true, I'm sorry. I failed you. Your country failed you. And we'll turn as if to leave, basically. Like that's the end of the conversation.
Look, look, McSanders Lopez. I don't know what you know of what's going on outside of the state, but suffice it to say, it's not like it used to be. I just thought I'd come home and I don't know, find someone, anyone, just get away from all that. I don't know what's going on here. Everything's all strange and new and computerized, but not in the way that it was back when we were coming up. I need help. I need I need someone to explain to me what all is going on around here.
Well, Christ, how long do you have? They will sort of take a sweeping gesture in at the city around them, the buildings, the skyscrapers, even in this part of town that used to be much more like 3 stories max. Everything has been replaced by towers reaching towards the sky up through the fog. In a sweeping gesture, they'll take it all in and say, everything that you know, everything that you love has been purchased. That's the short version of what's happened here. Mega corporations, Airsats Blue, Drive On, Remainder, Consolidated Gas and Electric, the lot of them. Krask. They'll point out a big advertisement flashing some kind of new health product, apparently by the same company that made those burgers that you had a couple of months ago. Uh, everything that you know, everything that you love has been purchased.
You seem to be doing all right for yourself, considering.
Is that what you think? Well, that's nice of you to say.
Look,
I failed you, and I kept failing people for what? He'll kind of like, sorry, they will kind of take a look up and down. 50 years after I failed you, I kept failing people. I failed people for the public schools, then the public schools went away. I failed people for private schools until the private schools were bought. And then I failed people who were training to be corporate security for a half dozen of the megacorps before I finally had enough to quit, retire, such as it is.
look, I'm sorry. They took so many of us after the transition to the new government,
Ah,
if you want to call it that. But help me now. I, for reasons I can't necessarily get into, I need to be on a train coming out of the West Oakland station in a few hours. But apparently, there's no such thing as public transportation anymore. I need some sort of doohickey to get on. Is there anything you could help leverage from your old career with the private schools or the corporations or just any students, former pupils of yours, people that you had instructed? I just I need some way to help my team. Otherwise, I really am just a useless old man and a relic of maybe not better times. Certainly not this, though.
relic of times. We're all we're all useless, they'll say. But I've never been on Rat. I've never had that kind of connection. It's likely that I have had students who are security on that kind of a thing. The security would have their own badges to get onto the trains, their own access. I don't know what happens when security leave. It's possible that some of them have showed up on the black market. It's possible I can get in touch with a former student and try to get you someone, but no one's gonna part with their badge. That's not how things work around here. You either gotta have money or you gotta have leverage. Do you have one of those things?
After my time in the army, um, I'd like to think that we've learned to pull levers in certain ways. I Let me take care of the leverage part. I just need a face to face with someone.
All right, I'll do what I can, but I can't guarantee that it'll be someone you like.
Just another day in the life. I don't think I've liked anyone. God, going on 40 years now.
Yeah, sounds right. They will put a hand on your shoulder, a withered hand on your shoulder, and say, "You're sad. That's good. It means there's still hope for you. Most of the people here are too beat up to be sad anymore." And they'll head off.
Okay.
And then I think it's time. I think the moment arrives for the first meetup. A day has passed, two remain, and are you all crowding into Vale's vehicle? Is that the sense of this?
Vale does not open the vehicle to everybody. Vale,
Uh-huh.
on a rare instance of not being summoned to, gets out of the vehicle and is like leaning against it, kind of like squirrely looking around for other folks. I'm gonna say that the two meetup points, if you're okay with this, are probably near some sort of like cafe, yeah, Krask cafe, or
Yeah.
general like meetup point, so that there is a like we can go in and get coffee, and try to look casual.
Yeah,
Um,
Krask has cafes on almost every corner.
yeah, Krask
Uh,
bucks.
just
So
so. So you're able to meet up at the Krask Bucks somewhere at the corner of downtown, all of you put together again, with your various successes and semi-successes under your belts. Um, what's the tenor of the conversation, y'all? Someone open it up.
Oh,
Well,
okay. So, oh,
no, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna ask. I mean, like, in the intervening hours before the big meetup, was Abe successful in getting in contact with
It'll probably hit the next time, right? So like
Okay.
you've met up, and then there's going to be a moment afterwards where perhaps some of these things come to fruition.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I mean, at that point, uh, sorry, Doc, nothing to report. I'm still very new at this whole thing. Just point me in a direction and I'll shoot.
I think we're trying not to shoot, darling, as much as possible. You just stand there and look handsome, and it'll be fine.
I don't know what that is.
Well, you're doing it. It's all right. Uh, I got in touch with a friend of mine who may or may not have given me a lead on one of these flash drives. Uh, we'll see. It all depends on my natural talent. Uh, Possibly happening tonight. Maybe. I'll let you know.
So wait, are we to understand you used your connections in the medical community to help us get on this train, or?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yes, darling.
Okay.
I
So,
also
Could be.
I also may have found a way to get one of those key cards as well.
Somewhere in there, Lore, also Vale's message did reach you by way of some jacks, so you know what Vale was
Sure.
conveying to you.
I also got a very cryptic kind of message from one of you, and she looks at Vale.
Vale is very distinctly not making eye contact with anyone and is really intently focused on their, like, very large cup of coffee that, again, most of you are wondering if it's actually coffee at this point.
Uh, according to what Vale found out,
Hey, no names, no names.
sorry.
There was some
According to a
stuff
contact,
I was
yeah,
trying to share. You don't gotta get, like, weird about it. It's not like we're friends or anything.
noted. Anyway, okay, then never mind. But I'm gonna chase down another lead as soon as we leave here. I might be able to get a flash drive from somebody else.
Glitch, this is a normal sort of conversation meeting. I don't assume that you're recording this one.
No, I have decided that I will start streaming once we're actually on the heist, because that's what
Sure.
everyone wants to see. They want to see the glitz and the glam of the actual heist, and not all of the boring stuff that goes before it.
Yeah, yeah. Does your persona break to some extent when you're not streaming? Like,
Not yet.
what are you doing in this conversation? Okay.
And the persona is as much a mask for people that I don't know as it is for the people who are on my streams. So for the moment, at least, GlitchAngle is remaining very firmly GlitchAngle.
Solid.
We'll see if that ever changes.
So two of you have suggested that you've got means of getting one of these each. That's what we've got on the table so far.
So, based on some of the exploration that I've been doing with the Urban Explorer streams, it looks like the territory that we're looking to get into is controlled by the Jacks and the Fairy Boys, except where we're looking is underneath what is controlled by those folks. What we're
There
looking
it
for
is.
is actually controlled by the Mazers, a third gang that's apparently coming in. I'm not sure how much you know about that, Morty.
Don't call me that. God, what do I know about the Mazers?
Oh, the Mazers. I don't know. What do you know about the Mazers? Let's make dice happen about that too. There's gonna be some just off the bat, but let's call it an intelligence and no roll.
God, would you also allow me to roll on that in case I've gotten any hot goss from my brother?
Yeah, for sure.
I
In fact,
was-
everyone who's not Abe can probably throw that down. DB, if you're saying something, you're definitely on mute.
Yeah, I'm into too many windows.
Gotcha.
So I got a 9 +1, but I think also -1.
That's right. If you don't have the skill, it goes down one. That's still 8, so you're in good territory there.
Okay.
Did anyone get higher than 8? We'll set that as the standard right now.
What were the two stats? Intelligence and
And no,
no. I don't think so.
Unless
If I don't have
always-
anything.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
say always feel free to pitch a different skill at me if a different skill makes sense for your character. I don't know what that would be in this case, but feel free to throw things my way.
So I have just a question in general.
Yeah.
So you said if I don't have something in the skill, it's a negative, but I have a +1 in intelligence. Would that still be a 10 or a 9?
Yeah, it'll balance out. So the
So-
+1 intelligence, -1 for the skill.
Okay, so it's a 9 for
Whatever
me.
that comes out to. 9. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. 9's still a solid success. So
yeah.
the Mazers, no one really knows much about their leadership or who's in charge there. They're pretty new. But they are giving the Jacks and the Fairy Boys kind of a run for their money in terms of sheer amount of resource that they're able to put on the streets to seize territory. I think, Lore, you'd be learning about this from one direction. Eve, you'd be learning about this from another direction, and Vale just from the general internet buzz about things, hacker buzz about things. Um, the Mazers' main mode of operation, they're moving into extortion and things like that. But while there is traffic on the series of freeways that meet up above Wokeland, kind of between Wokeland and Emtem. Uh, it is a gnarl of traffic known as the maze. And what the mazers do is they break into the self-driving cars and rob the people inside of them blind. They seem to have raised a considerable amount of money doing this because they've recruited quickly and seized some prime territory from both the Jacks and the Fairy Boys. It's recent enough that the Jacks and the Fairy Boys haven't really come up with a concerted strategy to deal with this yet. It's been kind of a blitz for them. Beyond that, no one really knows what the Mazers are like. They don't have a persona in terms of like, are they just going to shoot you when you walk in the door or not?
So, if the Mazers are robbing people blind, they might also have these flash drives.
I mean, that does certainly seem very possible. Although, if folks are using the self-driving cars, it may be because they can't get onto the fancy train.
True.
I just want to put it out there, for whatever it's worth. If we can get a couple of these drives pretty fast, I can make them be more drives, kind of fast. Um, Depending, maybe, possibly. I haven't tried this before, so I don't really know, but I might be able to. I don't know what the Mazer's deal is, so I don't know if that's better or worse for us trying to get on these things. But just if we've got leads on the drives, that's about what I can offer to help with.
I mean, that is an open question, isn't it? If the Mazers, and I'm assuming that you all said what you said about the Mazers, so I'm caught up with what you're what you know. I mean, assuming that they're moving that quickly, it might be best for the Jacks and the Fairy Boys to make alliances, make something, so they don't get wiped off of the board if they're moving that fast. At the
The
very
camera
least,
turns to those who are aligned with the Jacks and the Fairy Boys. Yeah.
at the very least, if they're hitting that hard and moving that fast, I suspect that those that you're aligned with aren't going to want to get pushed out quite that easily.
Though that's true, I don't think it went very well last time. They were all in a room together disputing about territory. As much as I appreciate their positions, they tend to be quite fiery. Lore.
I am not in disagreement, but we also had kind of a wrinkle in that plan.
Stare.
As an unknown kind of came in during the dealing.
Technically a couple unknowns, in fairness. Sorry
I
about
mean,
that.
one of them, oh, yes. You show up enough that we should have figured you would be there.
Yeah, I really should have seen that one coming.
But I am not of a position to make those dealings for the Jacks.
But if you can make those kinds of connections, that might help strengthen your position in the Jacks.
I'm sorry. I just gotta say, maybe we're not working for any of them. We're not working for any of them. They're not the ones who hired us. So maybe it's better for us to try to not leverage those positions, right? And then use whatever this does as leverage later. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to influence. Yeah, we can be democratic here, whatever that is. We can go with majority. I'm just saying, I've dealt with some of these folks before, and they like to see your cards on the table, and right now we don't have cards. We're at a poker table playing with dice, and I don't think that's gonna fly well for anybody. Just putting it out there. Vale immediately realize they've talked the most they've talked in a hot second, reaches into a pocket, pulls out 2 pills, smashes them in their hands, drops them into their coffee, and starts chugging.
Be careful with the downers, love. I'm in agreement. I don't think getting them involved at this point is wise. We don't know enough about
No.
what this train stoppage is intended to do.
Well, and of course, all of this is predicated on the idea that maybe we want to not have to use the fancy flash drives that our raccoon in a trench coat can do.
So, as we move into planning for the next day, my curiosity is, are we still trying to gather the three-ish that we have potentially leads on, Lore, Abe, and Eve? Or are we just going to go around this and try to make some sort of dealing with the Mazers?
I want to try and get one of these uh flash flash drives, dongles, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah.
Just because at this point, with the lack of information that we have about the Mazers and what it would look like if we just rolled up and went, "Hey, my guys," I think it's safer to maybe try and steal a dongle, which is saying something, because stealing.
Well, based on the conversation, it sounded like the other leads might be potentially rife with political consequences. So, I mean, depending on what Abe's connect is like, maybe that's an avenue we can pursue, and he would have shared that with the group to try and be useful. Otherwise, his only other contribution is in the interest of OPSEC. He's already thought of call signs for everybody.
Give,
I'm
Rad.
ready for
give,
this.
I demand.
Let's drop the call signs, then we'll take ourselves our break.
Sounds
Abe,
good.
what are you thinking for folks?
All right, folks, look, in the interest of OPSEC, which, for those not in the know, means operational security, they taught us this in the Army, among a bunch of other things. But that's not germane to the conversation right now. I think, given how surveilled you lot seem to be, it'd be a good idea if we don't refer to each other as our real names. Because, let's face it, I don't know. You guys,
Shit, do you know my real name? Fuck, never mind, keep going.
I mean, whatever. Regardless, he turns to GlitchAngle. You, I've seen what you can do. So, your call sign for this op is TikTok. Turning to Vale, kid, you're the best friend I have in this crazy fucked up world at this point, and I've only known you for about 3 hours at this point. You get pride of place. You're the trash can kid. Turns to Eve. Doc, you've patched me up, and well, I don't know why, but I look at you, and you strike me as a Sawbones, or a Bones for short. I don't know, boning sounds appropriate given the circumstances. And Mortimer? I don't know, gangland. You strike me as someone who is in the know about all the goings on with all the legal and illegal crime going on. We can think
Sure.
about that. Oh, yes, and me. Yeah, Abel suffice. It's not like that's my real fucking name.
And with some uncertainty as to how we're going to get on the train, but at least call signs, let's take us a break.
That sounds wonderful. We'll be back very shortly, friends. Hang out to us to see what exactly this group of misfits gets up to as we dive into the next part of our intel gathering. We'll be back very shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Over to you, Sam.
Time. slips through your fingers like, well, like the fog that is everywhere, pervasive, suffusing this town, this city, this region, this free state. A day has passed, 2 days remain, but we see it in montage to a certain extent, the clouds swirling through the sky. I know that three of you have leads that you want to follow up on to gain those flash drives, those thumb drive size subscription passes that will get you onto a train. I'm curious if anyone, especially those of you who are planning a more, let's say, invasive criminal way of getting those, is expanding to bring anyone else along, or are we still in the not trusting each other solo mission modality that we've been in so far? If it wasn't clear, I'm directing that question specifically at Lorelei. I imagine that Abe and Eve are going to do theirs solo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do mine solo too because I forgot I have a focus, an edge.
Ooh, an edge. Okay,
Yeah.
so we know that the three of you are going to do those things. I'm sort of curious if GlitchAngle or Vale have any notions of how they're going to spend the time, given the fact that the team seems to have this in hand. They think they're going to get three of these things, and then from those you'll find the other two somehow, or perhaps Vale will replicate them.
Well, I went first last time, so I'm throwing it at you, Abe.
Well, let me hit Vale first. I just want to get a notion of what Glitch and Vale are going to do. I might even just shuffle you to the side
Ah.
and do those scenes later.
Oh, I see.
But
Sorry.
since I know what
Vale.
three are and don't know what the other two are, no, it's good. It's good.
My apologies.
No, sure. I had to get to the right tab to confirm.
Yeah.
This is gonna get a little hardcore into mechanics, so we don't have to do it fully on stream. But I think that's fun for people who aren't familiar with the city without numbers. So I'm gonna be a little meta here.
Yeah.
I decided to fulfill two roles in this team that were a nightmare for Sam, and Sam had to explicitly build. We'll share these eventually. Sam built these beautiful character sheets for us that self-populate the rules. They are amazing, and please give him bites or something because they're so good.
I literally
My
was like,
character.
don't bite me before I remembered that
Yeah.
bites meant money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Keep going.
my character specifically is both the getaway driver and the hacker, essentially, because I have a vehicle and I have computer hookups. So with that meta acknowledged, what I am going to do for the next 24 hours, because Vale is hoping that someone slash anyone slash everyone shows up to the next like drop point with just so many of these drives that I can try to like canoodle with. In the meantime, I am going to do the for those of you who are familiar with the D&D, the hacker has some equivalencies to a wizard. I'm going to spend a bunch of time working on my programs. And I'm going to specifically just look through what I already have in the metagame purposes. I can have 11 verbs and subjects, and I have programmed 9 as my defaults. So I have 2 floaters.
I'm going to get even more meta and just say, for people who happen to be listening and who are curious, verbs and subjects are how you make programs. So imagine spells in D&D, but you construct them on the spot out of like, disable camera. Okay, I can disable that camera using my hacking skills. You have 9, which means you've got 2 slots that are open. You can spend this day coming up with what verbs and subjects you want to fill into those slots. You get them for free because you had them as part of your character creation. Normally, if you want to make new ones, it costs money, but you're set for these.
Yeah. No, and that's this was a thing that Sam and I had kind of established, that I was going to intentionally leave some blanks. So I am going to spend a day basically filling out those last 2 slots by picking what I think might be useful verbs and or subjects to add into my repertoire for when I am mobile.
So you've got that set up. As that's happening, I'm going to go from... Oh, Glitch, do you have a big picture idea of what you want to be doing? And it's okay if the answer is no.
I think that what I want to play around with is diving back into the streamer community, but going for the people who stream as a hobby and will do the streams that are more of the like, here's what you get to see that you don't ever get to do, and looking for people who are specifically streaming from the train.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna close with that. I'm gonna go
Deal.
from least to most dramatic. I think it's probably gonna go Abe and then Eve and then Lore and then back around to Glitch. Abe,
Sounds good.
yours is pretty straightforward. Your guy's gonna find you a guy, right? Your former teacher is gonna send you to one of the Siva Rat stations. The Siva Rat stations are fairly inconspicuous. Many of them in the city, at least, you go underground and you enter into them from there. There is a security guard. There is a security guard who your former teacher identifies as someone who they have taught, a person by the name of Garrison Dow, Gary. And your Anders Lopez will say to you, I don't know. I don't know what anyone's intentions are, but Gary was a good kid. Now he's running security for that organization. But somewhere in there, he's still got a heart, I would warrant. So, fuck. Maybe he can help you. And that's all about that you're going to get from Anders Lopez.
All right. So, coming into the Siva Rat station, I mean, paint the picture a bit. Like, I'm assuming it's like
Yeah,
any
yeah.
subterranean public
So,
transportation.
down an escalator from the streets of the city into a building which is not particularly well maintained. Despite the fact that this is for middle management, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of resources are going into it. The walls are slick with precipitation as it's hot and sweaty. There's a heat to this place. You can't actually see the trains themselves from where you are. They seem to be down another level of escalators. The thing that's immediately apparent to you is doors that go from the floor to the ceiling, not bypassable, and you occasionally see someone come up with one of those ubiquitous flash drives, those reputed flash drives, stick it into the machine. A moment passes, the door opens, the person walks through. As you scout long enough, you see it happening the other way as well. The doors are semi-translucent. Someone will come off a train, stick the key card in, stick the USB in. A moment will pass, the door will open. Between the doors in and out, there is a small station where a security guard is watching board computer tech all around him. He's young, he's scrawny, he's got a bit of a scruff to him. They apparently allow that for being a security guard here. And your experienced eye shows that among his gear is a walkie-talkie, a truncheon, and a gun. And he's monitoring as people are going in and out, in and out.
All right. In that case, Abe is going to approach the guard booth then and rap on the plexiglass a little to try and get Gary's attention.
Yeah, you got a problem?
No,
I'm sorry, I can't fix your card here. You have to go to whoever gave it to you and go through a process. There are forms. I can't do that. I don't even have the technology here, man.
No, look, kid, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not even really looking to board the train right now. At least, not at this moment. I was wondering if I could chat with you.
Chat? What?
Yeah, yeah. I understand we have a mutual acquaintance. Does the name J. Anders Lopez ring any bells to you?
You know my teacher?
They were a lot of people's teacher. Gary, right?
Yeah.
Listen.
He's got a big old box of like Krask snacks underneath the desk, and he's just like popping one by one like nondescript, colorless gummies into his mouth and just chewing on them.
Listen, kid. Look, I know I might look like a bit of an old timer, but I can't imagine that the security of the transit system will utterly collapse if you don't join me for a little bit of a vape break. Tempt you? Have a puff or two?
He will look around. He'll look up at what you now see as the camera that's sort of looking down on him. He'll look around. He'll tap a couple things on the computer, and he'll say, "Fuck, come in here, come in here, come in here. We're good. We got a few minutes."
All right. Look, how old are you, kid?
23?
It's just a baby.
Hey, hey, hey! Fuck you.
I didn't.
But he's looking happy about it. Like you've handed him like something to imbibe with, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you folks get these here in Silicon, but those of us who need to address our nicotine cravings, we have unique ways outside of these borders to get that done. That there is a genuine unit straight from China. Do you know what China is?
Well, yeah, it's them fancy plates that rich people eat off of.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy. I mean, it was. Regardless,
What?
that's not something that I don't think your corporate overlords let you import here.
No, you gotta pay
without
serious money on the black market to get this shit. This is controlled, man. And he's
Yeah.
like already puffing away at it. Or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
one
You know,
does.
I never cared for the stuff myself. So listen, our mutual teacher, good person, idealistic,
Yeah. Yeah.
knowledgeable.
Idealistic. Yeah.
Look, kid, I haven't been in town for all but like a day and a half, and I'm starting to get the lay of the land here. That thing that you have in your hands right now is mighty valuable, you've already told me. And I just need a little quid pro quo. It's Latin. They teach you people Latin anymore?
What? That's what Latin Americans speak? He's totally lost. Like he has no idea what you're talking about.
Look, kid, for reasons that I can't necessarily get into, that in no way will implicate you or put you and yours in any danger, I need to borrow that little dongle that you use to plug into one of the whoozy whatsits so I can get aboard the choo-choo machine. Do you think that we could make a trade?
Yeah, all right. Sure. You want to get on? Listen, I mean, I've got a couple of shifts here in the booth, and then later on, I don't know, next week or something, I'll have shifts on the trains themselves. I don't need this to get into the booth. So, this is gonna come back to me, right?
Of course, like I said, it'll be like no one knew that you ever helped me.
Wait.
And
How do I know I can trust you and you won't just take this thing and sell it or give it away and I'll never see it again? I could get in trouble. I'd have to fill out forms to requisition a new one.
well, a doctor friend of mine tells me I have a handsome face. I assume that also means I'm trustworthy.
I mean, you do. I wasn't going to comment on it. You do have a handsome face. It felt like a weird thing for me to say. Because you're so much older than I am. I don't know.
Some people prefer us more distinguished individuals. You can't help but like what you like, kid.
I mean, hell, man, I got daddy issues like everyone. But, okay. Are there more of these?
You know, I think we could find some way to accommodate you, sure.
Okay. And this is coming back.
Of course. Scout's honor, kid.
What?
Just forget about it. I'll be back. Ooh, when's your next shift?
I mean, I'm going to be here every day for the next 5 days. Then I get a day off. Then I'm going to be on trains.
Just the one. Okay. Well, I'll be back before you have to do train duty. How about that? In the meantime, please enjoy the best of what China has to offer.
Yeah. You got more of these. Okay. Because I got friends. I'm not going to just maul myself. And the conversation will continue along those lines before he will also sort of shuffle you out, dongle in hand. To Eve. What's the play?
Well, I will uh go hang out at the halfway house at the height of new client hour. I am searching for the greenest individual who smells the most like Train and has the biggest eyes and has no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I get the sense of the type. I don't think I
Yeah.
need a roll for this. You're gonna wait for long enough outside. It's new client hour. You can see that it's moving on. It's past sunset. It's early in the evening. Early enough that middle management is going to be able to go home and get a good night's sleep after this and go back to doing whatever middle management does. Um,
Mhm.
and you see one, man, this kid must have just been promoted. He's maybe early 30s, big eyes, enthusiastic, nervous looking in terms of like, maybe someone recommended him this spot. He doesn't really know what he's doing here. He's got that essence, that soupçon of Train to him.
Hmm. Excellent. Is he settled anywhere? Is he wandering?
I'm gonna
What's
say
the
you see him
vibe?
going in, and
Hmm.
then if you want to wait for him coming out, you can hit it that way. Or if you've got a different play, if you want to follow him, you can tell me what it is. But you first clock him coming down the street to the halfway house, like surreptitiously looking over his shoulders and making sure no one's keeping eyes on him, even as you are keeping eyes on him.
Ah, okay. Um, I think in noticing that, I will. So Selena asked me to grab somebody on their way out or on their way in. I can't quite remember. I did not write it down.
On the way out, she didn't want you to like steal a client from her, right? Like,
Yes. Okay, cool. I will wait. I'll wait till he comes
all
back
right,
out then.
he comes out pretty quickly.
Darling, is everything all right?
I don't know why you'd ask that. Everything's fine. Excuse me. Who are you? What?
Oh, sorry. I'm just taking a break and she'll brandish her vape.
He'll look from you to the vape and back to you again and say, "Ah, I see. I was just taking a bit of a break myself." Uh,
You seem a tad unsettled. Is everything okay in there? Not quite your
oh,
scene?
no, not quite. You saw where I went, didn't you?
Yes, darling.
Well, I've never been before, and by God, I'll never go again. It's not for me.
Oh, well, uh, hmm. To each their own, certainly. But I wonder if it was the flavor that wasn't quite right?
Labor.
Yes, dear. Flavor. There are many different flavors of Krask cream, and you have to find your favorite.
Why, I do enjoy crafts cream. You sound like you are propositioning me, and I will admit that I am a little bit uncomfortable and perhaps a small bit turned on, but mostly um curious about what this encounter is leading to.
That's quite all right. I'm curious myself. And I hope you know that you can say no. It's perfectly all right. My goal is just to make you feel comfortable and we can talk.
Comfortable. Wow, it's been a long time since I've been felt comfortable. Um, do
I think
we
many of us, comfort is very far from what we experience daily. That's what this is supposed to be. Safe, comfortable.
he'll sort of look up and down the mostly abandoned street that you're standing on and say, "What? do we do this here? Out.
Oh no, dear.
Oh,
Does this
of
seem
course not. Of
comfortable
course
to
not.
you?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I was going to lie and say that but no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Um, where do we go then?
Where do you feel comfortable?
Wow. Do I feel comfortable? I mean, at home, I guess I feel comfortable, but I can't bring strange people home.
Certainly
He's
not.
looking at you like he's asking you to give him permission to bring strange people home. Like,
Well, how about I introduce myself and then we'll no longer be strangers?
oh yeah. That makes sense.
Excellent. And she'll put out her hand. Yves Beaumont.
He will see that. He'll put out his hand. You will feel kind of a thrill go up his arm as he clasps hands with you, and he'll say, Gavin Benson.
Lovely to meet you, Gavin. Now we're no longer strangers.
Well, Eve Beaumont, I would be happy, proud. Would you like to come and see where I live?
I would be delighted.
Great. And he will. I think he's gonna take the train.
Okay.
You're gonna see
Cool.
You're gonna see the inside of a Seaver rat before anyone else. And what it looks like is pretty decrepit. The interior looks like it was laid out by a madman, essentially. A weird catastrophe of chairs, poles, and things you can hang on to the ceiling if you want to. He will check into the train using his badge. He will say to you, technically I shouldn't be using this for off-hours activities, but I told them I was working late tonight, and, well, you know how it goes.
Yes, darling, I work late every night.
He'll laugh for too long. Down to the platform you will go, sterilely lit by fluorescent lights, onto a Seaver rat. Most of them seem to be 6 or 8 cars late at night, usually 6. You will move back to the East Bay where he seems to make his abode. He'll take you, honestly, perhaps a little close to home for you. You'll go several stops down the Seaver rat up towards the district of Cal, what was once called Berkeley, and is now mostly decrepit after the science and the schools left. But some people hang on there.
I think throughout that journey, I would note sort of the procedure for entering and exiting the train, how people behave on the train, try to clock any additional security or cameras. He seemed to be able to take an additional rider on the train. So that seems like
He will do that. He will do that. Yeah, that's a good thing to be specific about. You will see that the way that he gets an additional rider on the train at the opening is he will say, "All right, this is technically a little against the rules, but we're living on edge tonight, right? Here's what I want you to do." And he's going to kind of put you up against the doors, and he'll just kind of rest a hand on your shoulder as if there's an intimate moment happening. There's not. He's nervous out of his mind. He'll put the dongle in. He's sort of looking over to where the board security guard's not paying attention, and he'll sort of stumble through with you.
Ah, okay.
He'll say, "Yeah, they don't really like it when you do that, but okay, I've never actually tried that before, but seems to have worked."
That was very suave. I just want to say.
What was it now? He'll smile. He has a nice smile. He'll say, "What was it now?" He'll walk you down. On the platform, there is more security. On the train itself, there looks like there's just 1 or 2 guys patrolling up and down the length of the train. It doesn't seem like a high security operation, though do give me a notice and wisdom roll.
Okay. Good. 10 on the dice, plus 1, that's 11.
Cool. And do you have the noticed skill?
I do not.
You
no, I
don't.
do.
So
I do.
you do.
It's at a
Okay.
0.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So you're good. You do notice that the car that you're on, you're only ever on one Rat car in this moment. The windows are tinted, so it's hard to see what's going on inside, but the double doors open, you're on the car. You can see that at least the one you're in does have a camera watching the proceedings on the car. You're pretty sure that if you were a hacker type, you could hack into the camera, you could hack into the doors. There's lots of places to stick a dongle, as it were. But he will sort of gesture you into a seat next to him and sort of blather about his life, this and that, as you are taking the long ride back up to the District of Cal.
Excellent. Sort of like pinging touch, noticing where he put his dongle.
As one does.
And scheming on how to yoink that later.
Yeah. So you make it back to his small flat. His small flat does have even smaller model train set up in the front room. It looks like it occupies the space where you would normally have like a dining room table slash sofa. All of that is just like a model train setup cramped in there. He will beam over it. It's his pride and joy. And then he'll be nervous again. We don't have to get into like big details, but I think you do comfort him, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
How are you going about stealing his shit after you've done that?
Well, I will probably. I think the conversation about payment will happen. Payment before always.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's probably a moment where he maybe falls asleep. I will grab whatever coat he had and rifle through the pockets and try
Nice.
to acquire.
You certainly find the dongle. My question for you is this. In this moment, he's also got his other things, his corporate ID, probably various identifying papers, a decent amount of money. Are you robbing him blind or just the dongle?
No, I will not rob him blind. I will take the one thing that I came here for.
All right.
And I will note where we are, and my intent is to return this.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have noted the location as you make your way back out into the foggy streets of what was formerly called Berkeley and is now called Cal. Meanwhile, elsewhere in theft, I think we've got one more scene of crime happening, and that's with Lorelei. Lorelei, you've got a day. You can time this however you want. I'm curious how you're going about it.
Sure. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my edges. I have an edge called Face, where once per game week, whenever it's convenient, gain one temporary acquaintance contact of your choice.
Yeah, you know a guy.
I do. I know a guy. And I think I know a guy who might be close to my old boss that might be able to borrow this dongle. Maybe I, at the time when I used to work in corporate, did him a favor and he kind of owes me something. And I want to see if he could get this for me so that she doesn't even know I'm involved.
So to be clear, you don't want to steal this thing. You want me to steal this thing and then
No.
give it to you.
Yeah, and I'll give it back so that you don't get in trouble either.
This is at a pizza place, this scene inside of MTEM. Again, probably controlled by Krask, but a couple degrees further away. It doesn't have Krask on the banner. The pizzas here taste surprisingly close to actual food, all things considered. You're sitting across from this guy. He's got a goatee. He's another one of these CG&E employees. So I'm borrowing it.
Yeah.
From your boss, from your ex-boss,
Yes.
my ex-wife.
Yes.
Why?
I need it.
Oh, you need it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you need it. What are you gonna do with
So,
it?
none of your business, because if I remember correctly, I got you out of quite a pickle that got me in trouble at work, and it covered your ass. So you
That's
owe
true.
me. And now
I'm
that I
gonna.
don't have that job anymore,
All right, all right, all right. When I'm dropping off the kids, I'll fucking borrow the dongle. I
hey,
mean, hell, it's as much my property as it's hers. Sure, yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
okay,
And then you're gonna give it back to me, and I'm gonna give it back to her. That's the
yes,
play here?
yes.
All right. And then I'm off the hook. You're not going to come to me anymore saying, "Oh, I saved your ass in CG&E. Oh, look at me."
No, I will not come back to you ever. Maybe.
No, 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 no. If we're playing ball, you got to swear it. You got to swear it on your arm.
My arm?
Yeah.
Sure, I swear it on my arm.
All right. That's serious. And before the end of the day, he'll return to you with dongle number 3. GlitchAngle. You are looking at trains.
I am.
You're gonna find at least all of the stuff that I already told Eve, right? But give me also one more roll of some dice to see if we find some additional stuff out of there. Let's keep this in the. Let's make it charisma no to be connected in that community. That's a weird combination, but let's do it.
Okay. Charisma, no. Well, I have a metric fuck ton of charisma. No, not so much. So that is a 7 on the dice as I click between all of my screens. Charisma mod bonus is an additional one.
The mod bonus is whatever it says all the way over to the right should be the final mod.
Okay, so I've got 2 on that and nothing and no, so that is an 8.
Okay, 8's a success, right? That's your basic number. So what you're finding out here is 1, trains, 6, 8 cars, sometimes 10 if it's like a rush hour, but not a lot of not a lot of people use these, so usually it's 6 or 8. They've got the security. You will see that they tend to have they have up front is the operator's car. One of your streamers will have like a sneak peek inside the operator's car. The operator's car seems to be like the place where all of this is controlled. This would be a prime place for someone to jack into, but honestly, like if you knew enough about trains, you could do it without even jacking in. This is where you control doors, security cameras, anything along those lines.
And this is something that, like, that whole segment is something that I will clip and put onto a dongle to hand off to Vale, because I feel like they're
Nice.
going to make much more use of that than I will.
Nice.
But I am well accustomed to clipping, so I'm going to pull clips of anything that I think is useful.
Cool. You will also see those security guards pacing around with their standard equipment of gun, usually at their side, holstered. Sometimes you see them holding the truncheon kind of menacingly, but usually that's also holstered, and walkie-talkie. They seem to be wearing like a very, not like armor or anything like that, but padded clothing, the same sort of stuff that many of you are wearing to give you just a little bit more protection if anything goes wrong. One of the scenes that you see is probably something going wrong. I think you get a glimpse here of one of these streamers intentionally pushing it too far and trying to egg on the guards a little bit. And you see as the streamer eggs on the guard will pull out the truncheon and just start trying to knock the living shit out of the streamer who offended him. The gun's never really pulled. It doesn't seem to be that violent of a response, at least for mundane things like making an ass of yourself on the train. At the next stop, the streamer is unceremoniously thrown off the train, and like the last shot is him being like, "That was awesome. Thanks to give me like and follow," right, and then he's gone.
I will also clip anything that looks strategic for Abe so that he
Hmm.
gets a better sense of like what the security is like on the trains. Anything that she thinks he might find useful as a military person.
Nice. Certainly, if it came to a fight, there's a lot of cover inside these trains vis-a-vis the chairs. The chairs aren't very thick, so it probably wouldn't stop like a sniper rifle or something like that. But any sort of normal combat, you could get behind the chairs if that happened. Um, it's a lot more varied inside the stations, right? Every station has columns, supports, benches, things like that. But you're able to see a couple of those and clip them for Abe as well.
Okay. Is there anything from the Wokeland station itself?
Yeah, you get a clip of the Wokeland station. Unlike the one in the city, unlike the one downtown, the Oakland station is raised. So you have to get into the station, go up an escalator, and then it shoots underground under the bay by and by.
Uh-huh.
But you get a good look around the place. You can see the security guard, the kind of a couple security guards on deck there. It looks, at least a couple months ago when this last stream happened, it looks secure, but not like a overwhelming military presence or anything like that.
Okay, and I will compare that against any other streamers who went through the Wokeland station just to see if anything has changed recently, but it doesn't look like super different to me. I also want to see if anyone, because anyone who's streaming on this sort of thing must know some of the stories. I want to see if
Hmm.
anyone is like watching out the window to see if they see the Treasure Island station.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So the answer is yes, right? Treasure Island, those of you who are here, you can see anytime you look out from downtown, almost anywhere on the eastern part of Silsent or the western part of Sil East, you can see the arcology of Treasure Island looming over the bay. It is a massive construction. It takes up the entirety of the island. If the train was built by a madman, this was built by a madman having a fever dream. The
Sure.
architecture on the outside makes no sense. One can only guess what it's like inside because it's dark. No one ever goes in, no one ever comes out.
Hmm.
Um, Insofar as the streamers have filmed out the window, uh, while going under the bay through the abandoned Treasure Island station, it has been dark within. It is underneath the island, but you can sort of vaguely see from the light coming from the train itself in those streams a few support columns holding up the station, and then just out the very edge of the shot, a staircase leading up, a long defunct elevator, and silence pervading the station.
I'm gonna make sure to. I'm gonna capture that video and then I'm gonna slow it way the fuck down so that
Hmm.
we can see everything that streamer saw inside of that station. And I've just set it up a dongle of everything that is possibly useful to hand off to everyone at this point.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's when you slow it the fuck down that you can see, again, in this abandoned station, there's a there's a fine layer of dust over everything. It gets blown up a bit as the trains go through, but as you look in, there's pretty clearly a footstep that you see in the corner of the shot, only visible because you slowed it down
I
in the
think
abandoned station.
I think at that point GlitchAngle gets up and just kind of walks around her apartment just like, what the fuck? What actually is here? What are we getting into? What is this bullshit?
Two midnights gone. You meet up again. Vale. Another cafe, a different part of town. If I had a cafe pun, I would make it here, but the only cafes I know are one syllable, so I can't attach Krask to it. Krask eats. Any rate.
Oh no, this is Crask Brew.
Krask Brew. There we go. Thank
Yeah.
you. Outside of Krask Brew, the vehicle sits inside of Krask Brew. You are all meeting up. What is the tenor of the conversation?
Right, okay. I think there's something wrong at that station.
Which station? What's wrong?
The fucking Treasure Island one. I'm gonna hand out the dongles to everyone, and then look at Abe and like pull up a little handheld device to plug mine into and just show him.
Nice. You're all able to see the footage now that GlitchAngle saw.
So, Vale, I think I found some interesting stuff from people who were able to look into the control car. I don't know anything about trains, but here's everything laid out. But there's something wrong in that station. No one goes in there, but someone does. Or something. It's a footprint in the dust in there, and it's really fucking weird.
Okay, but does this look like somebody who's just like looking for shelter from the elements because they can't afford anything else, or does this look like somebody who's like up to shit? Vale will say that out loud while they are like nose deep in their scrap deck.
I mean, it's Treasure Island. No one goes in there or comes out of there. Like,
that's what you've been told. That's what they've told you. That's what they want everyone to believe, is that nobody goes in and nobody goes out. But why? Why are they telling us that? Why are they? Sorry. That's chugs on the.
No, that's a magnificent question. Why? And why do we need to stop there? Why do we have to stop in that fucking station? Just throwing that out there. It's a little fucking weird.
I think the why is above our pay grade.
Not if we're the ones who are going to get shot by whatever's in that station.
I'm not getting shot by anything. Looks over at Abe, kind of like nods, and then goes back into the scrap deck.
I'm sorry. I try not to get too conspiracy theory about all of this sort of thing, but this is a little odd, shall we say.
Well, I think we knew it was odd when we were asked to stop a train for 1 minute at an abandoned station where supposedly no one comes in and no one goes out. That's odd. And we knew it was odd.
Yeah.
It's only gonna get odder from here.
I hate that you said that.
And you know that it's true.
I barely know you, but I already hate it when you're right.
She's always right. Just know that she's always right.
Cool. I've had a few people like that in my life. It tends to be bad.
I went on a train.
The floor is yours.
Nothing particularly special. Faster than a drive-on, of course, but not well maintained at all. Definitely security cameras within the car. They don't like when you try to squeeze two people through on one dongle, but it can be done. Given it was very late at night, and the security person was quite distracted, I think that made it easier. The platform is definitely more well guarded than the train cars themselves, so as long as we're not too conspicuous on the platform itself, we should be fine. We could risk squeezing two people through on a single ticket in whatever a ticket is.
GlitchAngle is going to look around at the group. I can't think of any way that we might be obtrusive. Heavy sarcasm.
So you've never crammed into somebody's rucksack before to get past a checkpoint?
I cannot say I ever have.
Weird, because you're like small enough that you could like actually, you're like pretty like man portable compact, so I just figured that was how you got into all those weird places that you get into that you're not supposed to be in. My bad.
Oh no, I just make friends anywhere I go.
Just everyone stares at you blankly as you say that.
Look, I don't have to try with this group. Y'all have to deal with me if you want to make the money.
The GlitchAngle is actually very like friendly and charming, but this particular group just like isn't gonna have any of it.
I also got a dongle, and she'll give it to Vale. All right, grabby hands. Take a breath.
Sorry. I'm so excited to look and
How
see
many
if any of
uppers
the
are you on today?
Like only a couple, like only the normal amount.
How how would you react if I told you that I also have a dongle?
GlitchAngle's fully just gonna shove her chair back to be out of the way of this.
Vale, like just very much like that, like just like keeps it very contained, but there is like a certain amount of vibration. The hoodie slips back, and you just get a lot of hair now.
I'll slip the dongle I have over to Vale.
Sorry, no, I'm just really excited to see how the code compares, because if I have multiple instances, that gives me a better opportunity to figure out what they're using for the encryption. So I'm gonna be more likely to be able to like re-encode it. Just thank you. No, this is really exciting. Thanks. You guys
I
are my
need that
best
back.
friends. Yeah, no, totally. Back untouched. Mostly, I'm gonna copy the
Okay.
code, and it's just gonna be like, no, thank you. This is great. I love you guys so much. Not in a weird way, just like in a respectful, appropriate, business colleagues way.
Abe, Abe has an unexpectedly grim look on his face, with all the discussion going on. So he rises up from his chair. He takes out the drive and he goes, "Dongle," and then he promptly just walks out.
Can I follow Abe real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Are you okay?
Um, yeah. Don't worry about it, kid. Just things that happened in another life. Not I'll be right as rain once the op starts. I promise.
Listen, you don't have to be. We live in a kind of a shit world. And if you can't do this, that's okay. You've done your part so far. We're not gonna like cut you out of the money just because you don't get on a train with us.
No. That's not my concern. Listen, you think we live in a shit world here. Kid, you don't know the half of it. I'll be okay. I promise. Just, let me get some air for a few minutes, okay?
Sure.
With 3 dongles, Vale, you have quite a bit of information to work with. Are you trying to clone 2 more to cover the entire group, or are you focusing on just making 1 really well? You've got not quite a full day left if you're going to catch the 10:06 6-car westbound train from West Oakland.
I think what oh, this is tricky. Especially because Vale just heard this little bit from Eve about like they were able to get 2 people on a train on one. It wasn't great, but it is possible. I think what I want to do with 3 dongles. This is a little outside of the actual mechanics, so let me know how you want to do this or not.
You tell me the story, I'll worry
Yeah.
about the mechanics.
Yeah. The story that I want to play is that what Vale wants to do is use the data I can pull from looking at these 3 dongles to essentially try to analyze what the personalization factor is. Like, what is it that like makes this a 1-to-1? To be able to, if not inherently spoof it, but like either spoof a version of it, or to be able to like corrupt it a little bit where it would be the sort of thing that if we returned all of these dongles to their original owners and they're like, that's a weird charge, I wasn't there, it would seem viably contestable as like an error.
Mm. And that's what you're going to find out is that these things do store in them and also seem to convey to the machinery of the
Okay.
doors, which conveys to the central headquarters every move that these people take, every action, every time that they go on a train, but also it's weird. It's not like it's tracking them. It's not like a GPS device or anything quite
No.
so much as that. Um, but
to use modern parlance, it's like a fast track.
yeah,
Every time
yeah,
you
yeah,
use
yeah.
it pings, but it's not following you. It's just every time you
Right.
use it pings.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I guess what's strange about it is that the device itself holds on to that information for a short period of time, but it seems to be conveying it to the doors. Like all of the information flows from the doors into the actual central hub, and from there, who knows where. So conceivably, if there was a way to spoof it, you could put a little bit of code on the dongles and make just one piece of information get lost on them or corrupted in a way that the doors would know something weird happened, but not that a group of people got on at a specific time. It's doable.
Okay.
It's work, but it's doable.
No. Okay. I think that is the goal then, is that with the combined knowledge of these three dongles, I want to Vale wants to write a code that is going to you can tell me if you want a different version of this, but using the parlance of what I have in my cyber deck, I want to
Sure.
basically create an existing like erase program autofill.
Uh-huh.
For those of you watching or listening at home, erase program is one of my cyber deck commands. So the idea is that I basically want to like create this, plug it into I'm gonna say I want to copy the data from these decks onto like my own USB with an erase program like auto roll. So the concept would be that I could stand at the terminal and like plug this in, take it out, plug it in, take it out, and it would just let everybody in and then immediately erase that we did that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
The cost of this is going to be 1 point of access, right? So like
Sure.
you have a certain amount of access. It refreshes over time, but setting up this program is going to take enough of the time that you have left that when you're going into the mission itself, you'll be down one of the points of access you would normally need to run shenanigans programs inside the station.
Right. Love it.
So note that down, give me a program roll, add +1 because Erase is actually a pretty easy program to run. It's built in that it is just easier to use. And let's see how that plays out.
Me see how much I suck at this. I do have some benefit in program, so I rolled a 7. I have a +1 to program, which makes it an
All right.
8.
And then a +1 from the tool itself. That's well enough, unless this system is so secure that you can't imagine. Like most home security is 7, basic corpo is 8, 9 gets us into high-end stuff. If these doors are that high-end, there's another problem here.
What I'm hoping is that if we all get on at Wokeland, I'm hoping that Wokeland, while a little bit more aware of cybersecurity, is not the most updated location.
Yeah. That's how you're spending the last hours before the train. I'm curious if anyone else has any last thing they want to get done before getting onto a train. Or like day of preparations. If not an action, then perhaps a montage. What's it looking like before your first mission?
I have a retroactive question. I know it was fairly late at night when I was on the train, but how did people look on the train?
Middle class. The people on the train looked like middle management. They were mostly besuited, looked like going home after a long day of work at one of the corpos. Many of them had VR crowns on their head, and were just zoned out in some other world that was not a Siva Rat train. Those who were not were looking out the window or asleep. There wasn't a high degree of like attention. Everyone was sort of off in their own place.
Okay. So, if, for example, Abe showed up in fatigues and Vale showed up in raccoon, it would
Yeah.
probably be pretty noticeable.
No one gave a second thought to you being there. But yeah, it's somewhere in the Abe to Vale spectrum, things might get a little weird.
Okay. So, given that information,
The two
I
genders.
might try to procure some uh used clothing items that would fit Abe and or Vale, that might make them fit in a little bit more.
I would absolutely love to play the scene where you are giving Abe clothing. And Vale, I guess. Both of those sound delightful in their own ways. How are you pitching to Abe that you need him to change his clothes?
I think very gently. um, I would hand him a suit jacket and some pants. Now, I understand that you're very attached to what you're currently wearing, but I am afraid that it might draw more attention to us. And as this is a low violence mission, I think it would maybe be best if we tried to blend a little more.
You'll get no objection from me, Doc, though. And then he looks at the suit. Like, how would you qualify the how would you describe the quality of this thing, right? Like basically like a middle manager like suit,
Yeah,
business professional.
it's something probably among my many contacts, it's probably something that a client left behind or didn't want anymore, maybe donated to uh, a, uh, a bow of theirs, that I have procured. So it's not like super high quality, but it's not ratty or patched or anything like that.
And to someone in Abe's position, that's the height of luxury right there. Well, these are some pretty snazzy digs, Doc. But back in my day, it was customary to buy a fella a drink first before you tried to dress him up.
Oh, well, I could certainly do that. I wasn't sure if you were a drinker or not.
Yeah, I'm a lot of things, Doc. But anyways, thank you.
Y'all are.
I'll make sure to blend in. You'll only see me if you folks need me.
Very well.
Likewise, Vale, do you put on Eve's clothes willingly or less so?
What does Eve bring me?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because Vale's gender is so
Yeah.
nebulous. Like the
Gender?
management clothes tend to actually do still in this 2072 fall into corporately
Gender is something that
acceptable genders.
Gender is something that Vale ate last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the trash, because that's where it belongs.
Or, no, just curious though, like, because
Yeah.
mostly because annoyingly, I want to hear you describe it. What do you bring Vale?
Hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
I even Vale have known each other for longer,
Yeah.
so I think the vibe is a relaxed trouser with a longer coat that sort of flattens or straightens the silhouette. So gender is still ambiguous, but more masculine than feminine. Black, of course, definitely black. And I think there's pinstripes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think Vale looks at this and looks at Eve when this is brought up and just is like, yeah, okay, I get what you're going for. This is the problem. this is the problem. Can I wear a mask? Can I pull a beanie down? Like, what's do I need to just like make sure I'm facing other directions? I don't.
Perhaps a bit of a wash.
Okay.
Just...
If I chisel out really hard and do like, you know that thing where you do like the weird squares to like avoid the like detection, is that gonna work, or is that gonna like make me stand out too much?
Too much, I think.
What about a really lowbrowed hat? Can I do like if I grab my brother's got like a shitty fedora from when he was in high school. If I like pull
Sure.
that down really low, would that work?
Pinstripes and fedoras are a little faux pas, but that is okay.
Okay, but is it gonna make me get like tagged by security?
No, darling, that's why you're wearing this.
So okay, great. That's all.
Don't
Okay,
get tagged by security.
Okay,
here.
great. No, that's fine. I'll call Deck. I'll see if I can read his. He's not gonna answer. I can just go visit Mom for like a minute and just read his closet. They'll be fine. Okay, cool.
Change Deck to mortal enemy on your character sheet.
Declan is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Declan made some questionable fashion choices in high school, and then he fell in with a crowd that accepted him for what he was. Unfortunately, that crowd was a gang. We'll hear more about it later.
Eva, I am gonna charge you like 50 zucks for that suit. Like that's
Sure.
too snazzy for just be like lying around.
Yeah, I figured.
Great, cool. Any last things? We're aiming up towards the cliffhanger here. But just swinging past Lorelei and Glitch real quick. On the way to the mission, the fog hanging over. Last day before the mission starts. Lorelei.
Lorelei wears basically a suit as is, so I think she probably adds a jacket on and calls it good. Probably touches up whatever makeup she has on. And then she doesn't need a weapon because of what her arm is and what it does. So, she's not taking anything. She basically looks like somebody going to work. I think she'll probably take like a briefcase.
Sure.
But that's
Makes
about
sense.
it. Yeah.
You grab a briefcase, Glitch.
So GlitchAngle has the advantage of having watched a bunch of people on the train. So she's going to make, I want you to imagine a drag queen version of middle management outfits.
I can imagine that.
Not
I can
something
imagine that real
that,
easy.
not something that doesn't fit in, but it's something that is on the more glamorous side of fitting in on that sort of environment. So she makes sure that all of her batteries are charged, that everything that she needs for her stream is, keyed in and ready to go. Everything's charged up. Everything's plugged in. Everything's good to go. Puts on the last little wing of the eyeliner and looks at herself in the mirror. Gives herself the double finger guns and heads out the door.
Nice. And so you converge like so many lines on a central hub, and that hub is the Wokeland Siva Rat station. As you arrive, you can see that there is indeed a security guard in the booth. He seems to be paying a moderate degree of attention. If someone can distract him, you can probably get in using Vale's bespoke technique here, let's say. A little bit of programming. But you see him sort of tracking as people are walking into the station.
I feel like that's my cue to use a perform, huh?
Yo, I'm also, we are sitting on this, on an advantage die, which will go away at the end of this session if it's not used. So that's roll 3d6 KH2 for keeping the highest two out of 3d6.
3d6, keep H2. I think that worked, yes. So that is a 9 plus my perform, which is a +1.
Plus your charisma.
Plus my, oh god. Plus my charisma, which is that is a 12.
That's a 12. Okay, very good. What are you doing to this guy, right? Like my mental image here is Vale's coming in, just kind of like sidling up to the machinery. How are you keeping this guy from paying any attention to that?
So I'm coming in just very like influencer vibe, very, oh my god, everyone have a look, we're looking at this most amazing station, just like doing the a day in the life of the influencer kind of stream. I have started the stream. It's going. The world can now see what we're doing.
Uh-huh. And the security guard is instantly besought by this. Like, he has never had an influencer have interest in him and his way of life before. He will turn and try to like wave you over and get your attention. And during that time, the rest of you call it. Like, what's this looking like as you're coming in?
Vale has the thingy, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
thingy.
Like, Vale, you literally just like tick tick boom,
Oh,
tick tick boom.
Vale, while dressed in this like slick pinstripe suit that Eve got them, and a matching close enough fedora that they stole from their brother's old closet, is gonna try to just be as like low-key subtle as possible, because I'm gonna stand over and do the like cha-chunk 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 for everybody to pass by.
And
Yeah.
one by one, the rest of you pass in. I don't think Vale is being particularly subtle. It doesn't matter. Glitch has got this. You look like three raccoons in a fairly nice suit at this point. Everyone else is, however suspicious that they do look in this. But you all make it in, assuming that everyone's going in, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Blowing kisses at the security guard as I pass through, as he rings me
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
I do think that Vale, recognizing a certain amount of like deference, probably clicks GlitchAngle as much as they need Eve and Abe through, and then like slides the USB drive like across the floor down for Lore to enter on their own separately.
Nice. And so you have arrived, fairly straightforwardly gotten into the Siva Rat station, and the train's on time. It shows up at 10:06. Everything is going perfectly according to plan, except for that weird footprint. And one other thing that's probably not a big deal, which is this. The 6-car westbound train has 7 cars. We'll end our session there for today.
Aka, excuse me?
Cool. Tight.
Oh no. All right, well, awesome, cool. We'll find out what that's all about next week. So we will return next week with more of Midnight in the Garden of Chrome and Fog to find out what in the fuck just happened there. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. This has been a tremendous first episode. I am super excited to see where this goes next. Yeah, there's stuff going on the channel. Vampire the Masquerade is tomorrow. Alondra and I are playing Baldur's Gate 3 on Friday. And then I'm doing some Power Wash Simulator on Saturday because I needed to relax after everything. So check out all the rest of that for those who are not in the Discord. Please come and hang out there. We have a lot of fun over there. Not least the various gifts that I've been dropping in there so that Sam can see what our reactions to things are.
Join our Discord. Thank you, Sam, for running this game.
Truly. Thank you, Sam, for running this game. Thank you, Alondra. Thank you, DB. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Cal, for being here to play this, especially DB, because I know it's like 1:15 in the morning your time.
I'm fine.
That's not a real time.
So hype.
Good luck falling asleep after this. But thank you all so much for being here this evening. And until we meet again, I hope that your journey back through the mushroom circles is as calm and as peaceful as it is possible to be. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you all again very soon. We're probably going to raid out to Jenna's online. I think she's on tonight. So tell her that I say hi from San Francisco of the future. We will see you all very soon. Good night.